Hello, everyone. All right, it's bright in here. Let me try to reposition myself, and then I can see my computer as well. Hello, everyone. Welcome to our Venom Vlog Live. It's been a while since we did one of these. I think it was like maybe 2 weeks ago, and I apologize. I should have done more of these, especially with the pandemic. I know a lot of people are like, "Hey, man, you moved to Florida. I know you're supposed to be resting, but where's all your content?" Like I thought, now that you don't have a full-time job to get in your way, like why aren't you making a lot more content? And it's a valid criticism. My answer is that I have been resting, and that by resting, I've gotten lazy. Pretty much is what it is. What's up, Pikachu? How's it going? There's no other way, to describe it. I've gotten lazy. Um, I'm one of those people that needs structure, and it's hard for me to gain structure when I just have all the free time in the world. Uh, which is why I never wanted to full time be a YouTuber. I always like having another, like a job in the real world, because that gives me perspective, and it also keeps me going somewhere every day for 8 hours, and it keeps me on a schedule. Doing great aside from being sick. Hey, I'm sorry you're sick, man. Please feel better. I'm sorry you're going through that, and hope whatever you got, you feel better soon. Um, so I have my chat up on my screen now because I got a new, I'm reset up my room and stuff. So now my computer's in here, so that way when I do these live streams, I can have a Venom background and I can keep up with the chats and stuff. You're very welcome, Pikachu. So the 4 people that are in here, hello, welcome everyone. We have a couple topics we can talk about today. What's up, Swordsman? How's it going? Like I said, the reason I just been lax on content, it's pure laziness. Like I just was like, wow, the movie got pushed back. Once they announced that officially, I was like, okay, I think I can rest now. Like I feel like when I first moved here, I was like, no, I got to still keep going a mile a minute. I got to keep doing this stuff. And once they announced the movie being pushed back, I was like, you know what? I can relax. I can relax a little bit. But I am working on. I wish Venom was in the MCU. I mean, I like him doing his own thing. I don't know if I agree with you on that one, but it's okay that you feel that way. Um, I like that he's doing his own thing. You might be getting your wish, Pikachu. Yeah, I mean, he is kind of MCU adjacent, but I don't know if we're going to see him interacting with like Thor and the other Marvel characters. I don't think they'll go that route. Um, Morbius Weird trailer is out. Oh, is it? Oh, I got to check it out. I'll have to, maybe I'll do, you know what? I haven't seen it yet. I'll do a trailer reaction to it, and we'll make that a Venom vlog episode this week. I have a Venom vlog episode I recorded already today, and then I have another one I'm going to record after this. So I finally got access to the second episode of Maximum Venom, and I'm going to watch it once we finish this live stream. So I'm sorry that I haven't put out a review yet. It's purely because for some reason the Disney Now app, which is how I watched the first episode, when they did the second one, they're like, "Oh, you have to link it to your service provider." And I said, "Okay." So I linked it to my service provider, and they were like, "Yeah, but you don't. Why aren't you paying for cable?" And I go, "Well, I don't have cable." Like when they came to set up my internet, they kept pushing it on me. Like I had 3 people go, "Hey, well, $20 a month, we'll add on cable," and I'm like, "I don't want cable. I'm already paying $80 for internet. Internet will get me YouTube, and YouTube and Twitch are all I watch. I don't watch TV." I go, "So I don't need it." And they're like, "No, no, no, we'll give it to you for only $20 more." And I'm like, "I don't want it." So because I rejected it, now I can't watch Spider-Man. So looks like I'm going to be spending $10 a month or whatever on Hulu so I can keep watching it. So whatever, it's fine. It doesn't matter. But yeah, everything balances out in the end, I guess, is a funny thing. So yay, reaction coming. Yeah, I'll do a reaction to that weird trailer. I'll put it up this week for sure. I wanted to make a Morbius video this week. I think I might read issues 2 through 5 of the comic and do a video there too. So you might get 2 Morbius videos this week. This week we're going to hit the ground running. I want to get a lot of stuff up because next week, June 1st through the 5th, I want to do a whole week of Eddie Brock stories because we kind of drifted away from Eddie Brock talking, we talked a little bit about him with Anti-Venom and stuff, but him as Venom, we kind of drifted away from. And then I realized, oh, wow, there's all these 90s miniseries like Tooth and Claw and Sign of the Boss and stuff like that we haven't got to yet. So we're going to do a whole week of those starting June 1st. So you'll have a whole week of discussion videos on Eddie Brock Venom. I also have more interviews coming up for you guys, 2 of which are 2 writers, Kevin and Kevin and Doc Wyatt. I'll be interviewing them, Kevin Burke and Doc. I'll be interviewing them for the Maximum Venom episode, kind of like what we did here with Ben Pronsky. I'm only going to do 1 interview with them, though. It'll be like 1 30-minute interview or something like that. But that'll go up the day before episode 3 of Maximum Venom comes out. And then I have another interview from Maximum Venom that I'll put up after episode 3 airs. So I got a lot more interview content coming up for you guys, thanks to Kevin and Doc, who have been setting that up for us, which is really nice of them. Hello there. How's it going, Florian? How's it going, man? You've been hanging out with me all week when I played God of War on my gaming channel, so thank you. And yeah, this week I took a week off and I just played a video game that was donated to us called God of War, and I really wanted to play it and get through it before I start working again. So we took the whole week off of videos, and I played that on my second channel, and it was a blast. I love that game. I like the idea of Venom being in the MCU. Swordsman says, because of the possible interactions, team-ups, and storylines, it opens a door. I see. I don't think it opens that many doors, because it's kind of like the Wolverine thing with X-Men. Everyone's like, oh, I can't wait for Wolverine to join the Marvel Universe. I'm like, yeah, but they're probably not going to do any more Hulk stories. I guess maybe I don't know, we'll do one Hulk story or something, but I want to see Wolverine interact with the Hulk. And we're not going to get that. We might not get that. I want him to interact with Iron Man and Captain America, and those characters are off the table now. So it's kind of like, you know what I'm saying? Like, so I feel like throwing Venom in, I'm like, all right, but all the big key players are kind of gone. So like, I don't know. I mean, I guess you could still do it with Thor with Venom, so that you know. But I think all the Sony stuff is going to be separate. Like, I think they're just going to be like, you know, we have these characters and we're going to use them. Marvel, yeah, you got to understand, Kevin Feige has a plan for things. He plans everything out. The Sony stuff is not in his plan, so he doesn't care what they do with Venom and stuff. As long as it's successful and it doesn't damage their brand or their version of Spider-Man, that's all they care about. Like, they don't care what plans. So Sony's plans are Sinister Six. That's what their plans have always been ever since I worked there in 2007, which was when the third Sam Raimi Spider-Man movie came out. That's what they want. They want Sinister Six. Any version of the Sinister Six, whether it's, you know, the actual comic version, because there's been different versions in the comics too, but they don't care. They just want to make a Sinister Six movie, and that's what they're setting up. So I wouldn't expect the Sinister Six to cross over with the Marvel characters. Maybe Marvel might let them use, you know, okay, like, all right, Spider-Man's going against the Sinister Six. He's going to go up against them. Maybe they'll let them use one or two characters, but I doubt they're going to let them use the Avengers and do Spider-Man in the Avengers versus the Sinister Six. Plus, I don't want to see that. I want to see Spider-Man be his own man and take down the Sinister Six himself. That's what I want to see. So, but I don't, that's what I'm saying. All these plans that Sony has, they just collide with Marvel's. And I don't think Kevin Feige's factoring what they want to do in. He probably asked them, hey, what are you planning to do? Okay, Sinister Six, this is what you're going to do with it. This is your kind of setup. Fine, go do that. That has nothing to do with my Marvel universe. I just want Spider-Man for this story so we can use him here, and then you guys can have him back, or we can renegotiate. Like, Kevin Feige has his own plan, so I don't see them doing, if they do Maximum Venom, it's going to be in the Venom-Verse, which is why I keep saying call this the Venom-Verse and not the Sony Pictures universe of Marvel characters, the Spunk, as is what they call it, Spunk. I don't care about that title. Like, they should just call it the Venom-Verse, because Venom started this universe, not Spider-Man. Spider-Man was in the MCU. He wasn't the Sony universe. Venom's success made this universe. So Venom should get the credit, I think. I think it should be called the Venom-Verse, especially since there's already a Spider-Verse movie. It's like, well, calling it the Spider-Verse, it's like, I mean, I guess you could still do that too. That'd be fine with me, but Venom-Verse I'd prefer. Hopefully Maximum Venom will be huge with many heroes and villains infected and coming after Spider-Man. You are going to see Moon Knight in episode 3. I think they revealed that already. Yeah, they did reveal that, because I pulled the article up on CBR. There's let's talk about this first, and I'll get back to the comments. The episode called Vengeance of Venom. By the way, I am in the process of... we have Peter Giles is playing Moon Knight. It looks like Peter Giles playing Moon Knight / Mark Spector. And then also Olivia Holt and Aubrey Joseph are coming back as Dagger and Cloak and Dagger. So that's great that we're getting Cloak and Dagger and Moon Knight in episode 3. I happen to know who wrote episode 3 of this series of Maximum Venom. And that's who I'm lining up an interview with right now that Kevin and Doc are setting up for me. They're working on it. Then I got to talk to like Disney PR and stuff, and then we got to get it approved, and then it happens. But they were very happy with the Ben Pronsky interview. So thank you all for watching that video and commenting and being so positive and being awesome. That helps out the channel and helps, you know, show them that I can bring, you know, more people to check out their product. And that's what I want, because I love Venom stuff. So I want it out there, you know, like I'm kind of a part shill in that way, but I'm constructive still for sure. But I do love Venom stuff. Like I picked just a great time to start a show on Venom, because he's now like everywhere. It's so amazing. There's toys, there's cartoons, there's so much stuff going on. There's more movies, there's a universe tying him in. It's man, what a great time to be alive as a Venom fan. It's so awesome. Now we just got to get Spawn up and running, right? So I do know who the writer is, and I'm working with. I can't announce it or say it yet because I don't think it's been announced. But I'm going to work with Disney and Doc and Kevin to get this interview up to you guys after the third episode airs. So it'll be amazing because the person who wrote it is I am like their biggest fan, so I'm so excited. Then also the character Moon Knight, created by Doug Mahnke and Don Perlin, was first appeared in Marvel's Werewolf by Night number 32 in 1975. Great character. If you don't know who Moon Knight is, he's schizophrenic, I believe, or multiple personality. And so he has the Mark Spector personality, and he has other personalities, but he also is inhabited by an ancient god called Kundu or something like that. I'm be honest with you, I know of the character and I like the look of the character. Never really read a lot of stuff on the character. I've read some 90s stuff where he appeared a couple times, and then I read a run that they did maybe 8 years ago or something, and I was like, oh, that's pretty good. But I haven't read a ton of the character. But it sounds pretty. He's a neat character though, and my friend Nathan is a huge fan of his. So let's see if there's a synopsis here. I think there was. In the midst of a symbiote attack on New York, Spider-Man must convince Mark Spector, a survivalist who has recently given up his secret identity as Moon Knight, to help him defend the city. And like I said, Cloak and Dagger will also be appearing in that episode. So yeah, very excited about that. I cannot wait to see where they go with that story front. So you'll see more interviews from me regarding that episode. The Doc and Kevin episode, we're gonna kind of, I'm interviewing them about the first two episodes that have come out so far. So, and then talk a little bit about their previous work and the work they do on Transformers and other things. But as far as like the third interview I do is going to be with the writer of this episode. So I'm super pumped for that. Hello there, we are awesome. Venom Padilla, how's it going? Venom Island 25 is coming out in less than a few days. I know I already called a store here in Orlando, and I was like, hey, let's see if there's a comic book store near me, because for some reason I haven't done that yet. All the stuff that's going on, I was like, hey, new comics are starting to come out this week, and Venom 25 is one of them. And like I said, before I left at Golden Apple, when I left LA, I was gifted as a going away gift issues 21 through 24 of Venom Island. So I wasn't going to buy them originally or talk about it originally until it came out in trade. But when they gave those to me, I was like, you know what, this will be good. Now that this issue 25 is coming out Wednesday, I called a store. I started a pull list with them. They're right down the street from me, which is awesome. Really cool store. They're called Gods and Monsters, which is a cool title for a store. Obviously named after the book, probably. But big fan of the lady who wrote me. Her name is Anna Young, and I emailed her, and she wrote me back. I said, hey, this is who I am. Someone recommended me your store too, because I was like looking, and I said, oh, there's Coliseum of Comics, but I had already emailed them before I moved here, and they never got back to me. So I said, you know what? A friend of mine recommended this other store. Let's see where it is. I was like, holy crap, it's right around the block. I was like, so let's just email them and check them out. So that's what I did, and they seem really awesome. Anna wrote me back already, and said nice things. She said, "What's your pull list?" I gave it to her. She said, "We'll take care of you. Come on in on Wednesday. What's your YouTube channel? I'll subscribe to it." So Anna, if you're out there, thanks for subscribing, and thanks for accepting me as a new patron. I'm so excited to come to your store and spend money and help you out. Hopefully, even though I don't have a ton of money, but if I ever when I get a job out here and I start making more money, I'll definitely spend more money at your store, most likely. So Venom 25, I will pick up, and I will do a discussion video on it probably a week after it comes out. I want to give everyone time to read it. I don't want to go through spoilers and stuff. So about a week after it comes out, so the following Wednesday, the first week of June, during our Eddie Brock week, I'll squeeze in a Venom Island discussion video that week for sure. Howdy, Lonely. How's it going? This week's episode of Max and Venom is more of a minimum Venom. Yes, it's building. We obviously I can't talk about things, but yes, it's building, and you're gonna have a great time. Hopefully, watching the rest of this. But it's a lot of setup. I kind of heard that going in that it might be. So that's what it is. It's a little bit of a slow burn. I haven't watched the second episode yet, so try not to spoil it too much for me. I think I know a couple things that happen in it, but I haven't watched the full episode, so I'm going to do that after this stream. Tooth and Claw is bad, but I have a nostalgic fondness of it thanks to being one of my favorite Venom comics, or first Venom comics. Yeah, I've already read Tooth and Claw, and it is a pile of dog crap. But yeah, we'll definitely talk about it in our episode. Exactly, a taste of what's to come, hopefully. Yeah, for sure. We are awesome. Yes. You guys are great. I don't want to see the Avengers versus Sinister Six either. I was meaning more of Venom than Oh, I see. Okay. Gotcha. Yeah, yeah. I mean, you'll definitely see Venom and Spider-Man interact in the movies now, for sure. I mean, that I don't even think they're trying to be, they're not even trying to cover that up anymore. I think they're just going full force with that. Venom-Verse for life, yes, right? How about Venom Vault or the Clintar Embassy? Oh, hey, what's up, Dustin? How's it going? We should come up with a Clintar Embassy, for sure. The Venom Vault, that's cool too. That's a cool title. I just really want MC thanks to Hope from Morbius. Oh, Maximum Carnage. Yeah, because of Morbius. Well, yeah. And I heard someone was telling me a Morbius trailer, a second one might come out soon, but I'm like, why would it? Like, the movie doesn't come out till, for like another 9 months or 10 months now. So I feel like they'll probably wait a little bit on that. They'll probably save it for Comic-Con. Always nice to see appearance from Cloak and Dagger, though the MCU show was crap. I haven't seen. I don't think I've seen the MCU one. The previous one. I mean, I watched some of this current Spider-Man, but if there was a previous iteration, I don't think I've seen that one. But I do like Cloak and Dagger. They're great characters. I haven't. Oh, you talking about the MCU show? Oh, the live action show. I have not watched that actually, and I like those characters. But when I saw the commercial, I was like, oh, okay, it's kind of a teen drama. That's fine, but I don't know if it'll pull me in, and so I never really gave it a chance. To be fair to the show. I first discovered Moon Knight and Spider-Man Web of Shadows. He's awesome in that game. That's a great game. Khonshu. I'm sorry, I said Kondu earlier. Khonshu. That's it. Yep, Khonshu. Thank you so much, Swordsman. Orlando's open. I'm jealous. Cali is still not fully open. F and 901, dude. I know. And I see that all the time. I see posts of my friends out in California saying like, dude, nothing's open here. Like they're saying we're gonna stay close till August 1st at the earliest right now. And I'm like, that sucks, man. I mean, I understand. Yes, people are sick, and I totally get it. I see both sides of the argument. Me personally, I need to work. Like my rest period, that I'm on is almost over. It'll be over in about 3 weeks, and so I'm already trying to line up a job now. So this week I'm going to be sending out resumes to Universal Studios. I'm gonna look at a couple comic shops around here, see if they're hiring. And I guess I'll start with Gods and Monsters, but I don't know if they are. I don't think they are. But I'm gonna look for some work out here and try to get something, even if it's just part time. I just need something. I need structure in my life, and I have a mask. I got gloves. I go about prepared every single time, and I know I'm at risk, high risk, with the health problems I have, but I still need to do things. I noticed I get lazy when I have a bunch of free time. And, like whenever I took a week off of work before, I would always get lazy. Now I've had like 3 months off of work, and I'm very lazy lately. And I'm letting my health beat me, like that's the thing I try to, because some people I talk to other aneurysm survivors and they're like, hey, how are you so energetic some days? How do you, do it? How do you go stand and work at a retail job for 8.5, 9 hours, 10 hours a day? And sometimes one shift I worked open to close, it was like I didn't care. I was like, I have to do it. If I don't do it, I sit and think about the things. I let it beat me, right? So I try not to let it beat me, and I don't want to give up. And I know how easy it is to give up. So I feel like I'm starting to get into that phase where I feel like it's okay to give up, and I don't want to give up. So I'm going to be looking for a job soon. So that's why I want to get a bunch of content out over the next 2 weeks out to you as much as I can, because after that, I'm hoping to have a job, and that'll cut down on some of my time. But it won't affect the show overall. Obviously, I'm going to keep making stuff. Do you think that many heroes will come together to fight Noah in the comics? Oh, yeah. I have a feeling the reason Donny Cates asked to jump on Thor is so that he could tie all of this in together. So I imagine that he's going to have Thor play a big part, and with Thor sometimes comes the Avengers, and he already set up the Avengers teaming up with Eddie Brock and looking at him as like a hero type in Absolute Carnage. So I have no doubt in my mind that that's probably what's going to happen. I just hope at the end of the day, the one thing, and you guys have said this, and I agree with it, the one thing Donny Cates did pretty well in Absolute Carnage, even though the story I felt was kind of a mess, he did focus on the relationship part of Eddie and his son, and Eddie and Peter Parker. And those I thought were done pretty well. So I got to give the guy credit there, and a lot of you guys said that as well. And so to give him credit, I feel like as long as he tells a good story that's personal and connects to Eddie, whether I like it or not, as long as he does it though, as long as that's the focus, I think he'll do a good job. So, or at least a job that I'll, give him some credit for. Swordsman says, I'm wary of 25 because Donnie making Dylan more than just a kid. Hopefully Eddie becomes an Avenger, though. I mean, the whole thing with Dylan has bothered me since the beginning. The idea of him not being a kid. It's so now that I played God of War, it's clear to me that Donnie Cates, I think, just pulled that concept from God of War. Before I was comparing it to Batman. I was like, oh, he's a big Grant Morrison guy. Donny Cates is. I think he's even hung out with him. I'm putting that. I'm wink, wink. He hung out with him at like Comic Cons and stuff. And they've partied together is where the wink, wink part comes on. And so I thought Donnie was just kind of pulling like, oh, he gave Batman a son, let's give Venom a son. But now that I played God of War, I'm like, all right, so this son the layers are peeling back and he's kind of a symbiote god and he's other things. And I'm like, oh, wow. So this is like God of War. And it's like a guy who's like Batman, and maybe the comparison's still there, but it's the trope of a guy who's not built to be responsible and a father figure trying to be a responsible father figure. So I was kind of like, oh, interesting. So when I was playing God of War, I was like, wow, that's crazy. There's a little bit, I started seeing a little bit more of Donnie's stuff in there. And since that ties into Viking lore and stuff, I was like, oh, that's what, Venom's starting to do now. And it's just going to start tying into Thor. So yeah, I feel like all the heroes are going to show up. If Flash is worthy to join, Eddie is just as well. Wait, what? If Flash is worthy to join, Eddie is just as well, if not more. Joining the Avengers. Oh, I gotcha. I mean, yeah, I don't know. I feel like that's is that a trigger they'll ever pull? My issue with the Avengers is they've got, like, when Bendis took over, he made this thing where like, okay, anyone can be an Avenger now. So it could be Spider-Man, you could bring in Luke Cage, you could bring in Wolverine and stuff. And on some level, like Luke Cage, I'm like, oh, he makes a good Avenger. I like that. And Spider-Man, okay, he's not a team player, but now you're making him a team player. But Wolverine, I was like, does he need to be a member? I don't know if he needs to be a member of the Avengers. So this I feel like sometimes they go out of control with it. They did Venom on the Savage Avengers, and I was like, okay, that makes sense because it's like a different team and it's got all brutal people on it. I don't know why they would call themselves Avengers at all. Like they come across more like a Defenders team. But still, I don't know. But I don't know if I want to see Eddie as an Avenger. But if they do that, what would be cool is if when they reveal that he's been hiding the fact that Null's coming, they reveal that and that revokes his Avenger status. Because that's kind of the thing with Eddie, right? He keeps secrets and they come back to bite him. So it could be. Hashtag don't spoil the second episode. Thanks. Have you played Maximum Carnage as a video game? Oh, definitely. Back when I was a kid, and I loved it. I haven't played it as an adult, though. I miss Flash. Yeah, me too. Yeah, I was meaning the live action one. Okay, for Cloak and Dagger. Yeah, I gotcha. Seeing a big page panel with the prominent heroes changing to or charging at Null like Endgame Final Battle would be awesome. I don't like Null as a character, so I don't care that they're building towards a Null story. He's not a character in my mind. They've done nothing interesting with him. I haven't liked him at all. And then when the one chance they had to tell his backstory or some of it in the Silver Surfer Black story, I was like, oh, cool, we're going to learn more about Null. And we don't really learn a darn thing about him. So I hope Donnie gets a grasp on what he wants from that character. And when they do the big Null story, I hope it matters. The other thing I don't like is that it's taking so long for Null to show up. This Venom Island story feels like filler to me. And we'll talk about that when I do this discussion video. But I'm like, if Null broke loose, get to the Null stuff. And I think they are. I think but now they're doing Venom Beyond is the next story where it's like someone in an Iron Man suit kind of looking thing with Venom on it. I think he's called Virus or something. I mean, I don't know. I don't care. I don't care. It's all filler to me. It's like, no, if Null broke out at the end of Absolute Carnage, take a couple months, tell a flashback story, tell something, and then get to the Null stuff. Like, stop decompressing your storytelling, stop wasting time. Who knows? Virus could be a cool character. We'll see. I don't know. I like seeing Bagley draw Venom Island, so that's my biggest compliment on that book is that it has him. Katya, hey, Lisa, what's up? Good to see you again. Hello, everyone. Bruce, what's up? Bruce, everyone's in here. Cool. Yeah, poor Eddie Brock. Yeah, great to see you, Bruce. Great to see everybody. What's up, Swordsman? Hello. You guys are all good? Nice. I think I'm caught up almost. A better film, a filler than Scream Mania. I've heard good things about Scream from our friend who, she is like a symbiote goth, I think her name is, symbiotic goth. She's like a hardcore Scream fan. She's been loving the book. And then I asked a couple other people and they said they really liked it too. So I have the first 5 issues. They were on sale for $1 each on Comixology, so I bought them all. So I'll probably do a video on that coming up too, for sure. Virus's unfortunate name and timing for a new symbiote. Yeah, right. Yeah, that's true. He's not a symbiote though. Virus, from what I understand, is not a symbiote. He's a person in a suit. It looks like it could be made up of jury armor as well. So that could be something where they bring back an old jury member. Who knows? We'll see. I was thinking it could be Ultimate Eddie Brock, because I know Donny Cates has plans to bring back the Ultimate Universe. That's why he has the Maker in his book. He wants to bring back the Ultimate Universe, and he wants to use symbiotes somehow to do it. It's kind of like, pick a story, dude. Like, everything he does, he wants to rewrite the Marvel Universe. Pick a lane and stay in it. That's my issue with him, is that he's just like, I have all these ideas, and it's like, they're not bad ideas on the surface, but you're doing them all at once. Like, I don't know. Oh, like the God Butcher, we're going to tie in the all black sword to Null, and Null cut off the head of a Celestial, and that head is nowhere. And it's like, why? Like, it's like, fine, tell your story. But it just bores me, because it just like, it's like making Prometheus the movie. It's like, hey, let's go back and explain where xenomorphs come from. Why? Like, I love Patton Oswalt. Patton Oswalt says, hey, George Lucas, when you went back and made the prequels, he has this joke where he's like, I don't care where the things I love come from. Like, he's like doing this thing where he's like, George Lucas goes, hey, little boy, do you like, Boba Fett? And he's like, yeah, I love Boba Fett. He goes, well, guess what? In my prequels, you're going to see him as a little boy, and he's seeing his dad dies, and he's sad and stuff. And you're like, what? And then he's like, yeah, what about Darth Vader? Do you like him? Yeah, well, in my movie, you can see him as a little boy, and his mom dies, and he's sad and stuff. And you're like, so he's like, I don't care where the stuff I love comes from, because I love the stuff I love, and there's a mystery to it. So this whole thing of like Null, and there's a god, and of the symbiotes and everything, it's just like, it just feels like someone trying to make the movie Prometheus. It's like, hey, let's explain where the stuff you love come from. And it's like, can't Clintars just be aliens out in space? Like, isn't that enough of a story? That may not sound interesting to a lot of people, and I don't mind adding some backstory to it, like they did in the late 90s, when Carnage possessed Silver Surfer. He revealed that at one point Galactus came and wiped out a planet that the Clintar race had taken over, and that's why the Clintars fear Silver Surfer and Galactus. Boom! There's a story you added to continuity without rewriting anything. So dumb. Sorry. I go on rants when it comes to Donny Cates sometimes, because his stuff, you know me, ever since issue 1 I loved, and then after that I started getting really critical. It went downhill for me, his run. But I'm borrowing Null for a VTM game and giving him a personality. Sweet. I can't wait. Tell me his backstory so I can like the character. Always good to see you, Lonely. Yes, Lonely's awesome. All you guys are awesome. Do you think Venom is ready for his own video game? Yes, absolutely. Y'all are sweet. You all are sweet. Yeah, Scream is great. Swordsman also agrees. Hi, dude. How are you? How's Echo? What's up? LOL. I'm good. Thanks for asking. I appreciate it. Echo's good. He's behind me chewing on a bone, or he was. Now he's under the bed hiding. Ultimate Venom. Yes, Ultimate Venom. The cool thing about the Ultimate Symbiote was that it wasn't a symbiote. Like, it was man-made. So I'm curious to see. But it's like, all right, Donny Cates, you have this idea for the Maker with the symbiote, and then you have Null, and it's like, hopefully it all, and then you have bringing in Thor now. I hope it all ties together really well. That's all I can say. If he sticks that landing, I will gladly put my foot right in my mouth. I don't mind changing my opinion or being swayed into having a more positive opinion if things get better. Absolutely don't mind that at all. So I'm not sitting here just to be a hater. I'm just critical, and then when I'm as critical as I get, I tend not to want to talk about it all the time, because I get negative about it, and I'm not here to like crap on anybody. And I know a lot of you guys like his stuff, and I want you to keep liking his stuff. I don't want you to stop buying his stuff. Keep buying his Venom comics. Keep the book going. Keep the sales up, because that only leads to more Venom stuff, and that helps me out as a content creator. So I want the Venom stuff to do well, but it doesn't mean I have to like it all the time. Oh, thank goodness I was not thrilled about the new symbiote. Yeah, no, Virus is not a symbiote. Yeah, the Ultimate Universe. Yeah, he wants to bring it back. He's been wanting to do that for a while. He does need to focus a little bit. I agree, but we'll see. Maybe it'll all come together. I don't know. We'll see. Maybe he's a master chess player, and I'm underestimating him, and that's possible, I guess. Prometheus makes me grumpy. I know, me too. You love the Star Wars prequels? See? Yeah, there you go. I like them now because they gave me Clone Wars, and Clone Wars to me is one of the best Star Wars things ever. Like, next to the original trilogy. I love Clone Wars. There's an alternate synopsis where symbiotes send an advanced party to take out all the superheroes, including what we already know. Oh, yeah? Interesting. I can't talk about it. We don't need 2+ year writing Marvel history, gigantic scatter, bringing events all the time, but that's just me. I agree too. I saw a lot of people talking about that. I was watching a Thinking Critical stream the other day, and he was talking about, he was with the retailers, and they were all having a conversation about, events and how often they come out, and how Marvel right now, they planned out 12 months of comics, and now that 3 months have kind of been taken off the board, where it was like, or 2 months where they couldn't make comics. So now they have like 8 months left of the year, or whatever, or whatever, 7 months left of the year to get all those stories out. So now you're going to see Empire overlapping with Ten of Swords, and then probably in the fall, Donny Cates will start his Venom stuff after the Venom Beyond. He'll probably start his Null story. So yeah, it's going to be a lot of overlapping and stuff. And so, yeah, I agree. It's going to be a massive headache. I doubt I'm going to do the thing I did with Absolute Carnage. Remember where I was buying every tie-in issue and then reviewing them? I'm probably not going to do that with the Null thing. Probably not at all. I think from now on, after Venom Island, we're just sticking to trades. I'll ramble at you. So yeah, please do ramble at me. Tell me your background for that character. Really, there would be two sides of the Clintar, one good, one evil, at war with each other. Would have been a far better story. I mean, anything would have been, I don't know, anything else would have just been, you can add lore to stuff, but just to bring like, all right, I have this all-powerful being who can't be defeated. Everyone should be afraid of him. It's like, it's kind of like the Doomsday factor. But the thing with Doomsday, which was neat, was that they set him up in like a couple issues with like a one page in the back of like 4 Superman books. They show him punching through a wall, and then he shows up on the scene and kills Superman. And it catches you off guard. It was meant to. It was like, hey, no prep, no anything. Anyone can die at any moment, and you showed that in a comic book. Even the greatest superhero in the world can die at any moment for reasons you don't even know why. And then Dan Jurgens had to go back and explain who Doomsday was later on. That was effective for that type of storyline. But to do this where you're building up something, like even like with Jeff Johns did with what was that, Necron? Necron existed as a character before. It wasn't someone Jeff Johns invented. That was already a character who existed, and he built up to it in a natural way. And he took like 70 issues, 60 issues plus, or 50 Green Lantern issues, roughly 40 to 50, and then a bunch of Green Lantern core issues, and then Rebirth miniseries to kind of set that up. So I felt like he really took his time building towards it. But like nothing was boring. Nothing was ever felt like filler till you got there. They mentioned Blackest Night and Rebirth, and then 7 years later or something, they get to Blackest Night. So but it was never boring in that 7 years. And that's why I like that Green Lantern run so much. As a lifelong Green Lantern fan, that was the best thing for me. It was like now with Venom, where it's like all this Venom stuff. There was Green Lantern toys. There was a movie coming out. There was a roller coaster. Like everything was Green Lantern, and it was a very exciting time to be a fan of that character. And now we're coming up on the 10th anniversary of Blackest Night and Brightest Day, and I am definitely going to make a special series of videos for you guys for that. For those who don't know my background with my aneurysm and talking to Jeff Johns and how I met him and stuff, that's going to be a very special series of episodes I'm going to make later this summer, or probably closer to the fall, probably like November or closer to Christmas. So yeah, built on previous lore. Yeah, that's the thing, is you focus on, look at what's there before, build on that. That's fine. But to come in and say, hey, I have this character who's all powerful and he can do anything, and you should be afraid of him and all, it's like, he hasn't earned any of that. Null has not earned any of the fear that people have of him. He's earned none of it. Everything you've seen of his has been hearsay, people telling stories. So yeah, I mean, if he would have done a miniseries called Null, and then just showed, like his experiences and show step by step what he goes through and build up this struggle, like they did with Apocalypse when they went back and told Rise of the Apocalypse miniseries. That showed him as like he was a baby and he was mutated, so they discarded him like the Spartans did. They threw the baby off of a cliff. It survived. It was picked up by a grifter, and then he became a slave, and then he became a king. And it shows this progression of earning people's fear. Null just be afraid of Null. Why? Because I said so. Because I wrote him that way. And it's like, okay, it's lazy. It's super lazy. So I don't like that character at all. I'm watching Thinking Critical at times too. I like that guy. Wes is really nice, and he's been really nice reaching out to me and having me on the show. It's always is very nice when bigger YouTuber channels are like, hey, I like your stuff. Would you like to come talk to me? Like Roman did that, and Dave Film Junkie's done that. Thinking Critical has done that, and it means the world. It blows me away that people care and that they're even checking out smaller channels. It's awesome. It's really awesome. So yeah, big shout out to Wes. He's a great guy. Gonna start Amazing Spider-Man on my upcoming Kindred arc. Mind you, I may read the current True Companions arc. Yeah, I want to check that out. That's the one with Boomerang, right? And what's up, Reckless? How's it going? I want to check out the Sin Eater arc that's coming afterwards. We might actually buy those and review them on the channel because I like Sin Eater. I wanted him in the first Venom movie. So I was hoping, Sin Eater would have been a cool villain to use, and you could have had Riot meld with him or something. But yeah, I like Sin Eater. So now that they're bringing him back, I want to check that out. So we're going to talk about that. Oh, hi, Mark. Going to hit the jackpot? Yes, we're going to talk about that. Let's get into that real quick. Let me catch up on Fear Carnage more than Null. Yeah, you should, because Carnage shows that you should be afraid of him. Null hasn't. Sticking to the trades for the rest of Kate's run as well, unless I find a cool variant. Yeah, cool variants like Hawkman, I read and trade, but Hawkman number 23 is coming out, and there's a variant cover that is just so awesome. It's like, and it's funny because someone asked me once, they were like, what DC characters would you have stories for? And I said, oh, I would really like to write a Hawkman story. And they were like, really, Hawkman? I go, well, actually, I would probably make it a Hawk Girl story, and kind of flip the script on it. And then I played God of War, and I go, wow, this is almost exactly what I was going to do with Hawkman and Hawkgirl. I was going to have Hawkgirl have a kid, and then and Hawkman be dead, and her going on this mission with the kid, like on this mission against the gods and stuff, and like these ancient Egyptian gods. And I had this big story planned in my head, and then I played God of War, and I was like, holy crap, this is kind of what I was going to do with Hawkgirl. That's crazy. So, and I still want to do it. I don't care if people think I stole it. I wrote it before I played God of War, so I'll just change some things. He hasn't earned our fear. Try harder, Noel. Yeah, and don't be a lazy couch master. So far, the only credit Noel has is bringing back more interesting bad guys like Carnage and Sin Eater. Yeah, exactly. Did he bring back Sin Eater? Is Noel responsible for that? Wait, Sin Eater's, yeah, Nick Spencer did. Yeah, Nick Spencer. But I don't know how he's coming back yet. So Carnage needs hugs. Don't say that to Jazz Carnage. Sorry, I forgot to put the what. Oh, that's okay. All right, so now we caught up on chat. I talked about Venom-Verse. So we already talked about Moon Knight, jumping into Venom, the Maximum Venom cartoon. I have interviews coming up. For those of you coming in, I have an interview with Kevin Burke and Chris Wyatt. They're the writers of Maximum Venom, some of the head writers on there. They also write Transformer cartoons. So I'm going to be bringing them on the show in about 2 to 3 weeks when episode 3 of Maximum Venom airs. I'm going to do an interview with them. And then I'm also going to interview the writer of Maximum Venom Episode 3, which is called Vengeance of Venom, which I think is named after a trade paperback, actually. And that's going to bring in Moon Knight and Cloak and Dagger and a lot more symbiotes. And I'm going to interview the writer of that particular episode, and they're a legendary comic book writer, too. So very grateful for Kevin and Doc for setting that up for me, and so I can bring that to you guys. But now that we've talked about that, I want to talk about the Venom-Verse, what I'm calling the Venom-Verse. Of course, it's called the Sony Pictures universe of Marvel characters, Spunk, which I think is a dumb name. But we have here 2 stories. We have one that was released first, which is director S.J. Clarkson. These are both from Deadline, is where I got these articles from. So Deadline reports that director S.J. Clarkson is developing a female-led Marvel movie for Sony. And there have been speculations. I saw some people saying it's Madam Web. There's no confirmation of that. I saw 4 articles I read trying to look for that confirmation. Nobody has that confirmation. I have a couple people saying their sources are telling them that it's from Madam Web, but there's been no confirmation. But S.J. Clarkson, she has worked on stuff for Marvel before. I think she did some Jessica Jones episodes. She's worked on a lot of TV stuff and has a really great resume. I'm curious to see what they're gonna do with this. I want to know what character it is first. I wish they wouldn't have titles like these headlines like developing female-led Marvel character. It's like, that's fine that you're doing that, but I don't know, announce like S.J. Clarkson developing new movie for Sony's Marvel Universe or whatever. To me, I don't care if it's female-led or male-led. I just want to know what the character is so I can have an opinion on it. Telling me it's female-led doesn't give me anything to have an opinion on other than it just annoys me and it's clickbaity. So, which worked because obviously I clicked on the article. But I think I came across the Deadline one last. I was reading the other ones first because they had better headlines. But since I had the second article here from Deadline, I figured we could talk about that. So let's start there. Before we get to Mark Guggenheim thing, what are your thoughts? S.J. Clarkson directing a movie for Marvel's Sony Universe. Again, they've announced directors before. They've announced writers before for Silver and Black and all kind of other movies. And these things have gone away. I had a friend who worked on Silver and Black, did a lot of concept art, storyboard art, and unfortunately the movie went away. So these things can start and stop anytime. Part of these announcements feel like it's just Sony trying to stay in the headline, trying to stay out there, being relevant during a time where movie news is hard to come by, and also garnering the reaction of people. This, to me, I don't know. Will they actually have S.J. Clarkson work on a movie? Sure, but will I don't know which one it'll be. And since they were so vague about it, I feel like this is just like really a non-story. They just wanted to announce that they have a new director for something, and that's great. But it's like, well, what is it? Like, tell us what it is so we can all have an opinion on it. Otherwise, or just say, like I said, just say she's working on a new project. We're developing it now. More news soon. Whatever, But yeah, so we'll see. To think that there's an actual Carnage body pillow. Is there now? Go on. No. Yep, right after Absolute Carnage, or right before Absolute Carnage. Oh, gotcha. Okay. I'll have to check that out. Love Moon Knight. Yeah, Moon Knight's gonna be fun to see. I can't wait to see how they interpret him. I think that issue was one of the few Donny Cates issues you liked. Was it? Okay. I don't remember. But I'll try to remember later. Mark lost his mind thinking of Dr. Eggman was pissing on the moon. That's an interesting backstory for Moon Knight. While Senior does mention Carnage, he gives credit and almost sacrifices some kids to know. To know? Oh, yeah. Wait. Oh, yeah. Was that no? Are we sure we're not mixing two stories together? Yeah, you know what? Was it one of those one-shots? Like one of those Carnage Web of Venom one-shots? I can't remember. Or was it like a backup story? I don't know. I love Sin Eater, so I mean that's but I vaguely remember that, but I didn't know he was sacrificing the kids to Null. But I don't know. But it doesn't sound like it sounds like something I heard of before, but yeah, some of that stuff leaves my brain. That's why I have to reread stuff all the time. But no, thanks for explaining it to me. I forgot about that. Hey, Andy Babak, what's up, man? King of the DC shows. Hope you're enjoying Stargirl. And actually, I think I saw your post already on it. So yeah, I know you're enjoying Stargirl. How's it going, man? Good to see you. Everyone, if you haven't followed Andy, be sure you do. Andy, if you have a link to anything you want to plug, like your DC podcast website or anything, feel free to jump in the chat. Andy's an awesome dude. We do need to catch up. I'm sorry. I have kind of distanced myself from a lot of people, not even just physically, but phone-wise. Like I think the only person I call and check in on is my mom. And then I saw my friend Nathan recently. We hung out with him for a little bit. But yeah, I have been kind of shut in. So yeah, I will. Just hit me up, send me a message, and we can chat. But yeah, Andy's awesome. Andy covers all the DC shows, all the live action DC shows. You okay, Echo? Want to come say hi? Yeah? No? Oh. I went to go get him, and he crawled into the bed. Not embarrassed to admit I have Alpin's Venom one. Oh, do you? Nice. Don't be embarrassed. Hey, if you own stuff, you own stuff. Don't be embarrassed. Seriously saving my back from bad mattress. I got a memory foam mattress a couple years ago or 2 years ago when I hurt my back, and worth every penny. Or a year ago. It was a year ago. I had a memory foam one, and I switched to a different type of memory foam, and it is amazing. I love laying in my bed now. That's the problem though too. It's so comfortable now. It's a single bed, so it's a small bed, but I lay in it and I'll just sit on my phone and take notes and edit stuff and look up articles and save them to my phone. And I do do a lot of my work just laying in bed now because it's just so comfortable. Well, we don't cover Pennyworth. Well, true. Okay, yeah, right. Pennyworth. I haven't seen that yet. My mom loves Alfred Pennyworth. I never knew she was such a fan of that character. Today she was at a GameStop and she saw these Batman-Verse Ninja Turtle figures, these 2-packs. And I guess they're on sale right now for Memorial Day weekend for $15 for the 2-packs. So my mom bought me one that has Donatello and Batgirl and one that has Michelangelo and Alfred. And I was like, I'll totally put them on my DC shelf. And right now she's out looking for the Raphael one and the Damien one. By the way, thanks for the 9 likes, everybody. Appreciate that. And the 9 people here. Thank you so much. Spider-Woman, Spider-Web, either way, I'm curious. Yeah, I'm curious. What do you guys think DJ Clarkson or SJ Clarkson is going to direct? Do you think she's going to do Madam Web? Do you think it's going to be Spider-Woman? I heard there was a rumor a while ago that they want Alicia Vikander to play Spider-Woman. I'll tell you right now, if she plays Spider-Woman, I will go see that movie opening day. I don't care. Even if the trailer doesn't look great, I will go see it. I am so in love with that girl. After I saw Ex Machina, I was just like mesmerized by her. And then I saw Tomb Raider, which I think is not a good movie structurally, but it wasn't poorly directed, although I do have some critiques there with the directing. But she was fine. I liked her as Lara Croft. So I would love to see her as Spider-Woman. That would be amazing. Or Madam Web. Even if you made a Madam Web that was like remember in Spider Island, they had that younger Madam Web who actually knew how to fight and was more interactive with stuff. She was like you could have Madam Web be like, it's almost like Shazam. She could be this old woman connected to the web of life and the multiverse or whatever. And then she could, throughout the story, or Doctor Strange, she's like the ancient one. She dies and passes the power on to, a new younger person who, can fight and do all these things. And that would be awesome. Because then maybe Madam Web's like, yeah, there's a dark future coming with this multiverse stuff. And there's like this evil building, like the Sinister Six in this one universe. And it's going to go hurt, a hero or something. And we need that hero to be ready. I'm too old. I'm too passive. I can't interact anymore. I can only see what's happening in the web, but I can't help change it. So I need someone to change it for me. So I'm going to pass the mantle of Madam Web onto Alicia Vikander. Holy shit, I would watch that movie. 1,000 times I would watch that movie. So Sony, get on it. And if you want someone to write it, I already have the idea in my head. I could do it. But I would make it like a female. I guess that's the wrong way to start it, but I would make it like an Indiana Jones. I would make it like almost like Indiana Jones meets like I said, like a Shazam type or a Doctor Strange type. That's how I would do it. It'd be like Indiana Jones meets Doctor Strange. Boom. There's my my Madam Web movie. That's what I would do. Also, Madam Web's a cooler name than Spider-Woman. Spider-Woman is fine. It works for the comic books. But if you're making a character for a movie, I don't want her to have a derivative name of Spider-Man's. So to me, I would just go with Madam Web. And maybe she could be Spider-Woman, and then Spider-Woman's just Madam Web in this world. You change. I know it changes a lot. People would probably not like me saying that, but that's what I would do. I would do Indiana Jones meets Doctor Strange. So yeah. As for Sony, I hope it's Black Cat. Black Cat would be cool too. I'd watch a Black Cat movie for sure. Silver Sable, I'd watch a Silver Sable movie. That's fine too. Hello, Andy. What's up? Everyone's saying hi. Good. Thank you. Thanks for the pillowcase, Shaman guys. No, I'm not making fun of you. Get the pillow. Get the pillow. What would Madam Web be about? Like multiverse? Yeah, I would say what I just said. I would do. Yeah, she would have glimpses into the multiverse. But I would play like Doctor Strange does. So like I said, it would be like Indiana Jones meets Doctor Strange. So I would have this young girl who's like an adventurer, and she goes on these missions and whatever, and she's destined to be the new Madam Web, and whatever. But I would make her earn it, because that's what characters should do. They should earn the heroic things that are brought to them, or the hero status. They should go through the trials. They should, she would get beat up a lot in the movie, but in the end, she would come out as Madam Web, and a formidable foe and a formidable ally for Spider-Man to team up with and help coach him into whatever, big story that they're going to go through. Whether it's Maximum Carnage, Sinister Six, whatever it is, that's what I would do. Leonardo is the best Ninja Turtle. Boom! I agree. Leonardo is my favorite Ninja Turtle too. Unfortunately, he's still $50. He hasn't been marked down to $15. Only, I think, only Raphael with Damien, Alfred with Michelangelo, and Batgirl with Donatello. I think only those 3 were marked down. But my mom and my brother are out they're out toy hunting tonight with my nephew. So they said they're going to go to some GameStops and check and see if they have the other figures. So fingers crossed they find them. I'd love to have that whole set. I wanted to buy them, but for $50 each, I was like, yeah, I can't afford it. But for $15 for 2 figures, that's amazing. I love it. Yeah, Madam Woman used to be the Spider-Woman that influenced the symbiote's design. Oh yeah, right. Okay. See, there you go. I like the movie idea, Siike. Oh, thank you, Lonely. What do I do if I have never seen Indiana Jones and didn't even like Doctor Strange? You didn't like Doctor Strange? I thought that was pretty good. My favorite, well, I would say I definitely have critiques of it, for sure. It's not a perfect movie by any means, but I love the ending. The ending, it makes the whole movie for me because I love the idea that he couldn't beat the final villain in a fight, so he had to like outsmart him in a way. He had to trick him and trap him, and he was willing to make that sacrifice. Like the whole movie's about him being selfish, right? And then at the end, he's like, all right, I have to make the selfless decision. And the selfless decision is I'm going to sit here in hell, basically, and get killed every single day by this demon and monster, Dormammu, for the sake of humanity. Because as he's here killing me, he can't go kill everyone else. Just an awesome ending. Just an awesome ending. Rest of the movie, yeah, I have problems with it. But I love that ending so much. But Indiana Jones, oh my God, you got to watch Indiana Jones. I don't know how they stand up to today for someone who didn't grow up with them, but those are great movies. Like, I love adventure films. Indiana Jones 2 is the weakest one. Most people will admit that. But 1 and 3 are great. And what's even better, which you might like too, since I know you like TV shows, watch Young Indiana Jones with Sean Patrick Flannery playing young Indiana Jones. Amazing. My teacher in high school, he taught us Star Wars using the Roman Empire. And he kind of, or taught us the Roman Empire, I should say, using Star Wars as reference to kind of, pull in a bunch of kids who weren't paying attention in school. That's how he taught us. And then he used Indiana Jones to teach us about World War I and World War II, I believe. And then he went on to create a program called Star Wars in the Classroom, which is a real thing that George Lucas endorsed and is a foundation that has a curriculum that shows what my high school teacher, taught me and how he taught me Star Wars and how he taught me Indiana Jones, or how he taught me about the Roman Empire and about World War I and World War II using these fictional characters. Amazing stuff. So awesome. And that he led me into becoming more of a history buff than I probably ever would have had any interest in being. So great stuff. So Star Wars in the Classroom, Indiana Jones in the Classroom, you can look them up online. But Indiana Jones is so awesome. So the first one and third one are so good. I love them. Temple of Doom, I don't hate. That's the second one. I don't hate it, but it's certainly the least cool out of all three of them. I don't count the fourth one. Because my biggest memory of Madam Web is the final arc in Spider-Man's Amazing Spider-Man season when Peter works with all these spiders. Yeah, exactly. So Madam Web, in a lot of people's minds, that's their definitive version of her. She's an old woman but that's what I'm saying. You have the old woman who has those powers, but she passes them on to a younger person, like Shazam the Wizard passed on the powers to Billy Batson. You find like an Alicia Vikander type, you have her be this, troubled person who's on the run or an adventurer type who steals things, kind of like National Treasure. Maybe, I don't know if you've seen that. Maybe that's a better example. National Treasure meets Shazam, if I'm speaking Andy terms. I don't know if you've seen National Treasure, but I know you've seen Shazam. So maybe that's what it's more like. That's how I would pitch it to someone like you, is I would say it's National Treasure meets, so kind of the same thing, really. But that would be fun. You could have her going around trying to solve this mystery, and then she unlocks the keys to the multiverse, and that leads her into the path of Madam Web. And then Madam Web, this old lady who can't do anything, passes on the mantle to a younger woman who can do a lot, and can be more active. That would be my thing. Sorry, what I meant is Spider Island. Oh, gotcha. Spider Island. That was, I love talking about Spider Island. That was a good story. Not only Ruby Rose quit as Batwoman, but also quit as oddly attractive animated wolf. I don't know. But since that's a DC thing, we'll keep that. We'll talk about that another day. But yeah, I was bummed that she left. Unfortunately, if you were a Patreon backer of mine, you would have heard me talk a little bit about Ruby Rose. But I am ending my Patreon. So Andy, make sure you unsubscribe to me on Patreon. I'm going to put my last 2 episodes up in the next couple days. But then I'm ending my Patreon. So just too much for me to deal with right now. I can't juggle everything because I know I'm going to be going back to work soon. And I just know I'm going to struggle with the Patreon. So I'd rather not take people's money if I can't deliver on what I promised to deliver. And plus, I'm still working on my book right now, so I got to make sure my free time goes to that because those people are also waiting for that as well. So I got to prioritize. So I will be ending that soon. So if you're a Patreon backer, cancel your membership. Don't let it charge you. Cancel it 2 days before the end of the month. I'll have my last 2 episodes up before then. Download all the episodes you want to download so you have them. And I don't think I have them. I saved them all to my computer, those podcasts. I may upload them to YouTube one day, but not anytime soon. Because I want those people who paid for them to know that they had them exclusively for a while. I love the reference to Living Tribunal in Doctor Strange. Yeah, there was a lot of good stuff in Doctor Strange, but there was some things I didn't like too. But Indiana Jones is great, yeah. Have you read What If the Alien Costume had possessed Spider-Man? I have read every What If. I have every What If issue. I love that was one of my favorite comics as a kid was What If, and I'm excited that they're doing a TV show. But yes, I have read that one. It's a great one. My favorite Indiana Jones movie is the one with the Ark of the Covenant. That's Temple of Doom, right? That's the one where their faces get melted off. I think that's Temple of Doom, right? Ark of the Covenant. That wasn't Raiders of the Lost Ark, was it? Maybe it was Raiders. Yeah, maybe it was Raiders of the Lost Ark. I can't remember. I can't remember because I do blur moments of the first two movies together. But I remember not liking Temple of Doom that much. So yeah, let's hit the jackpot here. There's also a ton of the Indiana Jones Easter eggs in Clone Wars and Rebels. Oh yeah, I haven't picked them all up, but I picked a couple of them up. I like both those shows. Those are amazing shows. All right, so we talked about S.J. Clarkson. That's what I think if they do Madam Web. S.J. Clarkson, if you're out there, I could write you a badass Madam Web story if you'd like. Yeah, I'm reaching there, right? Like, oh yeah, we gave some YouTuber with no major writing credits, just a couple of comics and a few pitched TV series and a few pitched movies, but we're just gonna give him Madam Web, sure. Sony Pictures is determined to expand its Marvel Universe of cinematic characters, headlined by female superheroes. The studio has now tapped Mark Guggenheim, which I think this was a story before. So that's why when it popped up in my feed before, I was like, I'm pretty sure we heard the news a while ago that Mark Guggenheim, I'm sure we covered it, that Mark Guggenheim was being reached out to add something to the cinematic universe. Well, it seems like it's going to be a character that he co-created, which is Jackpot. Jackpot popped up in after Brand New Day and One More Day and all that crap with... I think it was One More Day was the storyline everybody hates, where Spider-Man and Mary Jane make a deal with Mephisto, the devil, to undo their marriage in exchange for Aunt May coming back to life, which boom, 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 boom. Are you kidding me? Stupidest story ever. How do you think Aunt May is going to feel when she finds out, which she has to at some point, when she finds out that Peter Parker made a deal with the devil to bring her back to life? Boom, 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 boom. Just wow. Sometimes Marvel, not sometimes, a lot of times, these writers and people and these editors come up with these stories and you're just like, you should be fired. You should just straight up be fired. And I know for a fact that in that room, a lot of people argued and yelled and threw stuff at each other and it was a whole thing. Everyone should have been fired. I would have fired everybody. I would have just come in and been like, you know what, guys, you're all fired. Anyway, after that horrible storyline, they did a pretty decent job of rebuilding Spider-Man in a story called Brand New Day, where they brought in like 4 different writers, and they try to have them bounce back after this horrible story. So by default, it's already, whether you like Brand New Day or not, it's better than One More Day, because One More Day was the bottom of the barrel, in my opinion. So anyway, during that time, they created a character named Jackpot, who's this redhead who was running around being a superhero. They were teasing that it was going to be Mary Jane for a long time because obviously she's a redhead and she calls herself Jackpot. That was the first thing Mary Jane said to Peter Parker in the comic books, which is, hey, Tiger, you just said the Jackpot, because she was being set up on a blind date with Peter, who was pretty cool story. Peter was like avoiding the blind date. He was still going out with Gwen, but they were having trouble and there was things going on, and Aunt May felt like playing matchmaker. So she asked her neighbor, Miss Watson, and she was like, hey, Anna Watson, would you bring your niece over and meet my nephew? He's a good boy. Maybe they could go on a date. And then boom, Mary Jane comes in the comics that way. So they teased that it was Mary Jane. They wanted you to believe that. And then eventually they revealed that it wasn't Mary Jane. It was a woman named Sarah Errett, who was a scientist. And she was, while pregnant, she didn't get any time off for being pregnant. While pregnant, she does gene therapy research and exposes herself to something called Lot 777. Get it? Jackpot. Lot 777, a virus that rewrites your DNA in your blood, from your blood cells up. And her baby was then born healthy, but realizes in addition to being a new mom, she's now has superhuman strength and is forced to save her family. So it's a single mom who gets powers and wants to save her family. And then at some point she gives up the life and passes the mantle on someone named Alana Jobson, and then eventually who takes mutant growth hormones. So they couldn't tell that story in that form because mutant growth hormones can't exist in the Sony universe because that's an X-Men thing, I think. So then she passed on the story to this girl named Alana, and then eventually Alana got beat up or taken down, and the mantle had to go back to Sarah. A lot happened with this character in a very short amount of time because she's kind of a relatively new character. She's maybe like 8 or 9 years old, or something like that. Yeah, maybe like 8 years old, 9 years old. So she's a relatively new character. But they've done a lot with her in the short amount of time they had her, but she hasn't popped up in comics in a while. I don't know how I feel about this. So while I'm gathering my thoughts, let me go back and read your comments. Let's see. Your comments are for hit the jackpot or we won't fix the dang door. Yeah. All right. So we got jackpot and we'll mention it now, Georgie. Hold on. Hello, Eddie's Mullet. What's up, dude? Welcome to the stream. I mean, she's freaked out about dropping out of college. So, especially when God himself told Peter to let go. I know, right? Yeah, that's right. Peter, there was an issue where Peter Parker talks to God. And I think it's called the Book of Peter. It was a single issue. I have it signed by the writer because the guy who wrote it, I really like. He created the show Riverdale, and he also wrote a lot of Stephen King Marvel books like The Stand, which I thought he did a really good job with. And he wrote Afterlife with Archie. He's a great writer. I like him. Sakasa is the last name. Sakasa. He's a really nice guy, and he used to come into Golden Apple all the time when I worked there. And he's a big comic book fan, and I like his story. But I actually like that issue where he has Peter Parker talk to God. Some people make fun of me. They're like, you really like that one? It's so cheesy. And I go, but it's neat. I don't know. I don't mind it. I don't mind it at all. Peter's been through some remarkable things. I can't imagine that if there is a God in the Marvel Universe, which they have because they referenced him a couple times, I can't imagine he wouldn't like at least know of Peter Parker. Or Steve Rogers and stuff. So I don't know. That issue didn't bother me. It's goofy a little bit, sure, but I still liked it. I thought the message in it was pretty neat. But yeah, the message was let go. You got to learn to let go when you lose someone. And he was trying to warn them, if you don't let go, something bad's going to happen. And then boom, Peter makes a deal with the devil. Sorry. And I'm not trying to make suicide jokes, by the way. It's just I don't know how else to express my frustration when it comes to that. Because it's when I think of these ideas, I'm like, people who get paid money to sit around and come up with stuff settled on this idea with one new day or one more day, and I can't wrap my brain around it. So yeah, I kind of want to blow my brains out thinking about it because I'm like, how you must have no brain in your skull to decide to settle on that kind of story because it's a bad story. But yeah, anyway, so. Jackpot, Aunt May told him she was ready to go, and another story, and then the one with Eddie in the hospital. I know, that's right. She was ready. I mean, it was her time. It was her time. And they just, I don't know, they just screwed up. So let me see. I'm probably pass on Jackpot. I have no interest in her. Yeah, I'll be honest with you. Unless that trailer somehow blows me away, or unless they have Alicia Vikander play Jackpot, I'm not interested. I'm not. It will come down to who they cast on some level. That'll make a difference for me because I tend to go see movies based on who they cast, and if I like the person, I go see it. But it's I don't know. Jackpot, I'm like, I like Mark Guggenheim. He's a nice guy. He's written some things I liked, and he's written some stuff I don't like. I really liked his Wolverine Civil War comic. I actually wrote a review of it on I think it was on Amazon, and he responded to it, and he actually wrote me a really nice response. And I was like, wow, what a nice guy. So I don't have anything against the guy, but I'm not excited for Jackpot. I never really cared for the character. I'm all for, and that's what I think of. Like Madam Web, I'm like, I'd watch a Madam Web movie if you'd done it right. Black Cat, I'd watch a Black Cat movie if you did it right. And Silver Sable, I'd watch a good Silver Sable movie. If you did Silver Sable like John Wick, to an extent, because she's dealing with the Russian mob and stuff. Like, if you have it be that kind of action movie where it's real intense and stuff, like, but do different action. I'm getting sick of everyone just copying John Wick now. I understood that set a precedent, but I feel like now everyone just, like Harley Quinn, there's like, let's just get the guy who did John Wick. It's like, And then even the guy who did Civil War, he did like, or he did not Civil War, he did Winter Soldier. He was the stunt guy on Winter Soldier. He directed Extraction recently, which came out on Netflix, which was a good movie. It had good action in it, but some of it was too John Wicky, and I'm like, just let's knock that off. Let's get away from that. Let's do something original. But I understand why studios think that. They're like, oh, John Wick was big. That kind of action is going to bring in a crowd. Let's just do that. Because then if nothing else, people will come see it for the action. I totally get why they do it. I just do it, but add something new to it, maybe. But I don't know if I would watch Jackpot. Like, there's all these other female characters that I'm like, these are good characters that deserve their movie before someone like Jackpot. Again, Jackpot hasn't earned jack shit. So I don't want to watch a Jackpot movie. I want to watch characters that have earned their time in the spotlight, and Jackpot has not. No matter how good of a character you think she is, she hasn't, in my opinion. Yeah, I remember when Amazing Spider-Man was still fun to read. Now I just mindlessly buy issues and shove them in a long box. That's how I am sometimes with comics. That's why when I started the new pull list at Gods and Monsters, I was like, let's trim the fat. Let's only buy the books that I want to actually read, and not stuff that I'm just trying to complete a collection to. So for Marvel, the only books I'm going to be reading for Marvel is Ghost Rider, Doctor Doom, and Morbius. That's it. I don't want to read anything else from Marvel. That's all I'm going to read. Hi, Lisa. What's up? Lisa, I'm scared. Hold me. All I know about Mark is that he wrote some DC shows and Green Lantern and Tales of Arcadia shows, Troll Hunters 3 Below, probably Wizards as well. Yeah, I know he did Green Lantern. Not the best, I know. He did Arrow and a bunch of other shows. I like the guy. He's very nice, and I like some of his comic work and some of his TV work. When you isolate it with certain episodes, it's like, oh, this episode is written by Mark Guggenheim. Tends to be a good episode. But Jackpot is just a character I have no interest in. And it's going to take a lot for them to get me interested in. That's why I think they said in the article here from Deadline, they said that they're trying to find an actress who would be awesome for the role. And that's what I think they're going to try to do. They're going to try to get someone, like they compared it to like Brie Larson. Like, oh, Brie Larson had a fan base. She's kind of controversial. She made a big splash for herself. People had opinions about her. So that is one of the reasons they were like, oh, we can put her in the spotlight and have her be our Carol Danvers. It sounds like Sony wants to do something like that too, which might work out for them financially, but I feel like that's also going to push some people away from seeing the movie. But hey, that's the risk you run. No matter what you do, you're going to have people who like it and people who don't. So you can't let that sway your opinion. You got to just go with whatever you think is the best investment, right? This is a business, and you got to think of it that way. So you got to look at Sony just making decisions based on what they think will be a good investment. So if they get a good actress to play Jackpot, they might get more interest involved. I personally don't want to see Alicia Vikander play Jackpot because I don't want to see a Jackpot movie. I want to see Alicia Vikander play Indiana Jones meets Doctor Strange and make a Madam Web movie. That's what I want to see. Jackpot may as well have been a symbiote from the 90s, big splash, a lot of potential, then disappeared into comic limbo. Pretty much. Donny Cates is Eddie's god, and he unfortunately does not let us forget it. Pretty much. Yeah, I would like to forget it, Lisa. I know we would all like to forget it. I wish, I know I have bad memory, but sometimes I would wish it would get a little worse sometimes. I know that's a mean thing to say to myself, but I'm joking. So grumpy at the Kate stuff. Yeah, the Kate stuff. Man, you guys went off on a Kate's rant while I was talking about Jackpot. A Spidey C-lister I'd like to see a movie of is Cardiac. Ooh, Cardiac. That's a good villain. I like that character. Yeah, that's a good one. Cardiac. His costume's awesome. I really like his costume. His backstory is really interesting. I liked what Dan Slott did where he kind of made him a kind of an anti-hero-ish, where he was helping out Spider-Man a little bit. That was kind of neat. I also liked when Dan Slott made Morbius the sixth member of the think tank over at Horizon Labs. I thought that was cool. We talked about that in Spider Island. That was a cool reveal. I like when people do things with characters. The one thing I don't like is what he did with Hobie Brown, the Prowler. I pitched to Steve Wacker, not like a formal pitch, but I had emailed him once and said, hey, I would love to write a Spider-Man story, and like a backup story about Hobie Brown, because at the time they were doing Brand New Day and they were putting these little backup stories in the back of it. And I said, I really like to do Hobie Brown. He said, oh, I'm sorry. Dan Slott has big plans for Hobie Brown. So if you come up with another pitch later, let me know. And I don't think I ever reached back out to him, but because I was really dead set on the Hobie Brown story. Then Dan Slott proceeded to do nothing with Hobie Brown for like 7 years until he wrote, or 6 years, until he wrote Clone Conspiracy. And then he kills Hobie Brown and brings brings in a clone of Hobie Brown to replace the actual Hobie Brown. And I was like, wow, 6 years where I couldn't write a Hobie Brown story so Dan Slott could just kill him for no reason. So stupid. He went to church so he could get religion. What do you expect? Yeah, well, that's where you find symbiotes now. Morbius is so good. Yeah, Brie Larson, don't trigger me. I'm sorry. Well, don't get triggered on a human being. Like, I know people don't like her. Like, I'm not a big fan of hers either. But when I see people get like foaming at the mouth, like angry, I don't know. That's you gotta let that shit go, man. You gotta let that go. I mean, I have things that trigger me too. I gotta learn to let it go. So I know I'm sounding a little hypocritical here. We're all human. I get it, but who cares? Don't let her what she says bother you that much. Like, who cares what she says? It's like she's allowed to. That's the thing is I see people on both sides that go, oh, look at how this SJW talks, and then this person's like, well, look how this Nazi talks, and you're just like, you guys are both just trying to police how each other talk. So to me, you sound the same. You both sound like children. Go to your rooms, separate room. Go to that corner. You go to that corner. You're in timeout. That's how I want to handle those people. So I get it. I there are people that upset me too. You know, I like Donny Cates, like his writing upsets me. Him as a person, like I saw the whole stuff he was doing with Comicsgate and stuff, like where he was called Ethan Van Sciver and things like that. And I was just like, I don't care. Like, I don't care what the guy does. You know, it's like, I just want good Venom stories. So, you know, like, and if he's not hurting people, like going after and hurting people, or, you know, I think there's been rumors that he's been going after people's livelihoods, like, you know, talking crap about people and not getting them work, according to, you know, Ethan Van Sciver. You know, I take everyone's word with a grain of salt, especially when it's hearsay. If he's not actually hurting someone, I don't care. So if you're out there and you write comics, you make movies, you make music, whether I like it or not, doesn't matter. If you're not hurting someone, that's what hurt me with X-Men. I'm a big X-Men fan, but I had to pull away from the movies for a while because one, had access to them anyway, so I was seeing them for free before they came out. But then two, Bryan Singer. Like, I was like, Bryan Singer's kind of a monster, and I don't like him as a person. And so because of that, I don't want to support things he's made. And it sucks because I actually like the first two X-Men movies, and I like Days of Future Pants. So and I know I said pants. I got that from Red Letter Media, and I like that a lot. So I call that movie Days of Future Pants now. But I like those movies, but I don't like Bryan Singer. It's yeah. But yeah, okay, so I won't trigger you. What would you think about Sony introducing Miles Morales as Spider-Man in the Venom movies if things go... Well, actually, that was something I wanted a long time ago. Remember, we were talking when the first movie came out, and people were saying, oh, I hope Tom Holland shows up as Spider-Man in this. And I said, I hope he doesn't. I hope Miles Morales shows up and that he's the Spider-Man in the Venom movies. But then they made Spider-Verse, so I think they have their own plans for Miles right now. But a live-action Miles is something that would be nice. But him being in a Academy Award-winning animated movie and more to come, I'm okay with that too. So as long as he's out there, I'm happy. Because I like Miles. I think he's a great character, and I see a lot of potential there. And I thought the movie, that's the best version of Miles Morales I've ever seen. Way better than the comics. Way better than the comics, in my opinion. I would honestly not like it. Miles' best interactions happen later in his history. And I don't know. I wouldn't mind it. I'm not against the idea, but at the same time, they've already set him up in Spider-Verse, so I'm happy with where they put him. I'd love to see Spider-Verse Miles working with Venom. See, that's where I would see a crossover. If you went into, if you did the Spider-Verse animated movies, maybe in the third one, they could bring in Venom, as a character in an animated form, and you could have Tom Hardy voice him. I'd be totally down with that. That would be pretty cool. I don't know if Tom would be up for that, but I would love to see that. That would be really great. So that way you can have Venom and Miles team up and with other Spider-Man, and you could have it happen in a cartoon universe where you could do all kind of crazy stuff. Imagine how the symbiote would look wrapping around Venom in an animated world. That would be so cool. That would be so cool. Or even if they put Venom in Spider-Verse 2, and then him hanging out with other Spider-Man is how he comes up with the idea to make the spider symbol. That could be awesome too. Or some people were saying they theorized that maybe Venom would bond with Tom Holland for a scene in a movie where they team up. And then when it comes back to Eddie, it brings the spider with him. That could work too for me. There'd need a lot of setup for Miles and Venom to work. I don't think so. I don't think so. I think you might be overthinking it. I don't think you need a lot of setup for that to work, in my opinion. Because look at the movie. Like the movie, it wasn't like the movie was like, I love the Venom movie, but it wasn't like this deep dive into, cerebral storytelling with lore and backstory and setup for Venom that was felt proper and good. I mean, it lacked in a lot of those areas, and especially with the enemies, like Riot and stuff like that. So you could do it. Doesn't mean you're going to like it, but yeah, I don't think you need a ton of setup with Miles and Venom, personally. Because it's a movie. Like, I think most people should understand when you go see a movie, you're seeing a completely different interpretation of the stuff you love. You want the characters to be handled well. Like, you want the essence of the character to be seen on screen, but I don't want to see the exact same stories on live action as I read in the comics. The comics are already there and they're great. Change some things when you put it in the movies so I can get a different, feel for it, and so I don't predict what's going to happen, so I don't, so I'm not sitting there bored going, all right, next he's going to do this, next he's going to do this, next, I don't want to, that doesn't make movies, the going experience, good for me. So I don't know. I would say I don't think you need a ton of setup for it. I feel like since they've done a different take on Venom's origin in the movie, it'd be pretty awesome to bring it and approach things with a different, I mean, that's how I feel too. Yeah, I feel like that way too, Bruce. But I see where Swordsman's coming from, but I think I kind of lean more towards that. To what you're saying. Future Pants, Days of Future Pants, man. I think they have him tied with Miles Morales movies, a Black Cat Prowler movie, hanging them at odds, trying to steal something would be great. I love Prowler. He's one of my favorite Spider-Man characters. I even, when I wrote our Spider-Man 4 script, the other two writers were like, hey, we need a character to kind of, we just need another character in this scene. And I said, well, let's put in Hobie Brown. And they're like, who's that? And I was like, that's the Prowler. And then I said, well, let's not only put him in the scene, but let's expand his role, give him like 3 scenes in the movie, and have him in a science class with Peter, so you can already set up that. And I think we even had a scene where we talked about burglaries in the neighborhood, and it was just kind of like in the background, But I was like, yeah, that kind of, so that way we can kind of tie into Hobie Brown maybe being the thief, later on in a future movie. I went pants that can see the future, Magic 8-Ball pants. That'd be awesome. Spider-Verse is the best Spidey movie so far. I would love to see Venom there. Yeah, I love Spider-Verse. I still think Spider-Man 2 is a better, more well-constructed movie than Spider-Verse, but not by much. Like, Spider-Verse is really, really well done. Pacing-wise, character introductions, all this stuff. There is some questions I had, like how does Gwen Stacy get sucked into another universe and then sign up to go to school? And why would she go to school? Like, why wouldn't she just try to find out how she got into this universe? Like, instead she just like, oh, I'm going to go be a student at a school, and she meets Miles Morales. And I'm like, that feels a little too convenient and lazy on some level, because I don't know why she would go, hey, I'm in a new universe, let's go sign up for school. I don't know why he would do that, but I think she said something like she was drawn there because she sensed Miles. So maybe that's a kind of an explanation, but it's fine for the movie, but it's just enough to pull it down a little bit for me underneath Spider-Man 2. Preach! What's up, Andy? Bye-bye. Time travel, I see this as absolute victory. Maybe. Time travel is always fun. You're right, Siike. That would be very mind-blowing to see in a Spider-Verse animated movie. I would love to see Venom. And I saw someone do a sample. They drew Venom in the animated form with the pop art dots and stuff, like how they animated Spider-Verse. They did that right after Spider-Verse came out, like a month later, and it blew my mind. I was like, that's amazing. I totally want to see Venom in Spider-Verse now, for sure. I can believe you didn't use the Big Wheel instead of Prowler. I love Big Wheel. I know. I love Big Wheel. Big Wheel was something I had planned. So one thing we wanted to do when we wrote Spider-Man 4 with my two friends, we wanted to do Spider-Man 4, 5, and 6, right? And we were going to have 6 be the Sinister Six. But each movie we were going to have Spider-Man, it was going to have a James Bond opening. Because I always saw Spider-Man and Batman, I always thought they should be like James Bond movies where you can reference the previous movies if you want, but just tell the story you want to tell. So they should open with an action sequence like a James Bond movie does. So in Spider-Man 4, we had Mysterio be the opening scene. In Spider-Man 5, we planned to use Big Wheel, actually. So that's funny you brought up Big Wheel. I love Big Wheel. I want to see him on the big screen. He's that's such a goofy concept. I love it so much. Swordsman 100, that would be pretty cool. Yeah. Sorry, Siike, I just found the different relations Miles had compared to Peter very interesting. No, you don't have to apologize. I get it. I mean, I understand Most people would prefer Peter to interact with Venom because of the relationships with Eddie Brock and stuff. But this is a different Venom. He has no connections to Peter Parker or Spider-Man. So to me, you have a clean slate there. So that gives you an opportunity to not just do the typical Peter Parker Spider-Man story, but to do Miles. But if they put him in the animated one, I personally would prefer that. Now that Spider-Verse is set up, like I said, when Venom first came out, I was like, oh, if they're going to do Spider-Man, do Miles in this universe. But since they're not doing that, and they already came up with Spider-Verse, then I say put Venom in that. And because I want to see him in animated form, because I want toys of it. I just want toys, man. And by the way, Sony and Disney, work it out, man. I want Venom movie toys pronto, man. I want them. I want the Venom movie figure without the without the spider on him with the veins coming out. I want that. I want a Riot, build a figure. I want these things. I want an Anne Wei-Ying toy. I want a Dr. Dan Lewis toy. Yes, give me all of them. I want them all. The Knoll would make an appearance in Venom movies. Hotspot wants to know. Hotspot, what's up, dude? Will a title like Let There Be Carnage, an obvious Bible? Well, that's the thing is, I don't know if you saw my tweet about that. It was funny because I tweeted that a while ago. I said, Let there be carnage, kind of like how God said, let there be light. Maybe the symbiote God is saying, let there be carnage. And I tweeted that, and then all of a sudden I saw like a bunch of people not retweeting me, but going and saying it like it was their idea. And I'm just like, okay, I see how it's going to be. I was like, all right, that's fine. And I'm sure other people connected that dots too, but I saw a lot of people. And I'm like, okay, that's all right, fair enough. But I'm not saying I'm the first one who came up with that. I'm sure someone else did too. Great minds think alike sometimes, but it did. I started seeing it everywhere, and I was like, okay. But yeah, I did come up with that thought too. I had that thought too, Hotspot, and it's possible. I hope not, though. I really hope not. But if you think about it, the first movie, I say this all the time, Riot mentions that they were sent to Earth, right? Or they were sent out into the universe to look for a planet to inhabit, and to lead the Clintars back to. So we can assume that maybe the Clintars are on their home planet starving, and they sent these Clintars out on meteor rocks to go find other planets. And that's when John Jameson's space shuttle found one of the meteors, landed on it, and pulled the symbiotes and brought them to Earth. So we can assume that there's a null type being out there for sure. Georgie says, that's what I was thinking, maybe. Yeah, more deserving than Ralph Breaks the Internet, aka Ralph Breaks My Sanity, because I actually didn't like it. Spider-Verse was awesome. Such a good movie. Imagine if we got Venom and Agent Venom hanging out in the different spider people in Spider-Verse. One thing at a time, but doing introduce Flash Thompson in the second Spider-Verse movie, maybe, and then have, bring in Venom, and then maybe in the third Spider-Verse. But I'm pretty sure they're going to do something with Spider-Man 2099. And so there may be multiverse hopping and time travel, which would be really neat. I could be down for that. Did you read Bizarnage's This Could Have Been Carnage on the Venom site? Yes, I did. But again, I think we talked about that on the show before, but I think he actually interviewed somebody, right? So yes, that's why I went and checked it out. Yeah, if you guys haven't seen that on the Venom site, I think I retweeted it the other day too. Bizarnage did this really nice write-up about, remember those concept arts we showed off, like, I don't know, it was before Christmas. I want to say it was like 6 or 7 months ago, but it was like Venom fighting Carnage. And it looked like the Riot final battle between Venom and Riot from the first movie. And I showed those off, and I was like, hey, I wonder if Carnage was originally planned to be the villain in this. Bizarnage actually did a deep dive, and he went and interviewed somebody who actually worked on the movie, or worked on the concept art, and asked him if Carnage was originally. So I don't want to talk too much about that article because it's a good read. So definitely go to the Venom site and check it out. It's called There Could Have Been Carnage is what it's called. And yeah, it's worth a read. Thanks for bringing that up, actually, Eddie's Mullet. That's a good article, guys. You should go check it out. And I have no doubt that was probably the original plan, because ever since they wanted to make a Venom movie with Dolph Lundgren in 1997, almost every draft of the script was Venom versus Carnage. And I know some people asked me to talk about the Venom movies that would have been. I'll probably do an episode on it where I talk about every version in one episode. I don't want to make a video talking just about the Dolph Lundgren one and all, because the thing is they don't matter. They didn't happen. So I kind of don't find it to be that interesting, but some of you guys have requested it. So what I'll do is I'll go back and do a little bit more research on all of the versions that could have been and do just one like 30-minute video on the different versions. And we'll talk about it at that point. Oh, they didn't steal your idea. The Donnie Cates, they Donnie Cates it. Yeah, no one stole my idea. No. I'm not accusing anybody. Hotspot, I know, great minds think alike. So I know, Hotspot could have, thought of that on his own. It's a pretty clear thing to me. Is like, let there be carnage. I was like, because I don't know. I think I'm actually working on a book idea that I'm going to do after my current one, because I thought The King of Neverland was going to be my final book, but somebody gave me the idea. They said, you know what? You should do one more book after this, because you kind of failed a little bit with King of Neverland, which I agree. It's taken me longer to finish it than originally I had said I was going to finish it. So when I get that feedback, I go, you're right. I'm still working on it. I'm going to get it finished. You'll have it definitely by the end of this year. But my friend said, you know what you should do next year is come up with that book you always wanted to write about Judas Iscariot. Like I've had this idea for like 8 years about Judas Iscariot. And I wrote an outline for it. He said, you should do a YouTube show where you write it live, like on a live stream like this, with people talking to you guys. So you can see how my brain works when I come up with stories. Write it along with you guys. And then after we finish the book, do a Kickstarter to sell it. And that way the book's already done. And that way you can just say, hey, the day after the Kickstarter ends, you have your book. I'll send you the digital copy right away, and maybe do a small print run of the actual books, but just have a digital. Just have everyone fund it for $5 or $10, and they get a PDF of it, and then that's it. And then take that money and print a low run of the physical ones or something like that. But that way I don't have to ship anything or anything like that, and because I screw that up sometimes too. Sometimes when I ship to other countries, 6 months later they come back and I spent like $30 shipping the stuff, and it came back and I'm like, great, I got to send it again, and who knows if it'll make it. So doing Kickstarters and Indiegogos is really tough. So I thought that was a good idea. So you might see that, actually. You might see me do something like that and create on here and bring something to you guys in that way. I don't know why I went off on that tangent, but yeah, that's something I'm going to work on. But anyway, so yeah, the Kickstarter. So I'm working on a book right now, and then so the Judas thing may be my last story. So it's one I wanted to tell, one that I wanted to tell. King of Neverland is a story I came up with before my aneurysm. That's also why it's hard for me, because I'm trying to piece this together and make it work, based on the person who wanted to write it in his 20s. But this Judas story is something I came up with post aneurysm, and that's why I'm determined to finish it. Probably a little controversial, but I think Judas is an interesting character, so I want to talk about him. Movie Venom is gorgeous. Oh, Dr. Dan figure, yes. Yes, we need a Dan and Ann on the shelf. We do. Slams table, thank you. Lonely, I would pass out. Me too, Lisa. Oh, they didn't steal your idea. Donnie Casey. Yeah, but like I said, we all think alike. But I did see an abundance of people like running with that, but they didn't like quote tweet me or retweet me. They just kind of went and said, hey, wouldn't this be cool? And I'm just like, I know you follow me. But whatever. We live in that world now. I mean, I've done it too. Like, I'll share a picture on Instagram, and every once in a while someone will go, hey, you didn't draw that. Give the artist credit. And I'm like, I'm not posting it saying sometimes I just need a picture to go with the text I'm posting. And so, because it's Instagram, it's a visual based thing. So yes, I know I didn't draw this, and yes, sometimes I forget to credit the artist, or I don't know who the artist is. I'm sorry, but I'm not like some other channels. They actually post art and go, Venom art, and you're like, okay, but by who? So yeah, I think people are used to that on the internet now, where they just see someone else say it and then they regurgitate it because they're just like, yeah, and it's not about them stealing it, they just do it. It's not like a nefarious thing. Spider-Verse 3, the Venom-Verse. Yeah, just Venom-Verse. Just call it Venom-Verse, the whole Sony thing. Yeah, remember, Let There Be Carnage has something to do with church battle. Mind blown. Yeah, there's definitely a church scene in Let There Be Carnage for sure. I read it, really interesting stuff. The concept art is awesome. Yeah, that article is good. Yeah, he did a good job on it. You can do it, Siike. We believe in you. Thanks. People I know recommend Indiegogo over Kickstarter. They do for comic books. And yeah, I think Indiegogo lets you keep more of the money. My thing is I just don't, I don't know, maybe it's a little bit of a pride thing, but I'm like, I don't want to go out on this negative note. Like, I think ultimately the people who back King of Neverland, they know I openly speak about it. It's not like I went away and stopped talking about it and just been like, all right, I'm just not going to mention it, and I'll, whatever. It's not like I did that. I should update more on actual Kickstarter, but I feel like most people who backed it follow me on social media. So I talk about it on social media. I like let them know, hey, I'm still working on the book. I'll have updates as soon as I can. This summer, I'm definitely going to do a big update on it. So, but yeah, that's a Comicsgate thing. Comicsgate is like, they're like, hey, like a Kickstarter pushed us out. So now we use Indiegogo and we make more money on there and we make this. And it's like, that's great for them, but I'm not a member of Comicsgate. And this Judas thing is not a comic book. Neither was King of Neverland. It's not a comic book. It's a novel. And the Judas thing is also going to be a novel. So, since I'm ending on I don't want to end on a bad note, basically. So I'll probably just do the Kickstarter. And because I'll probably only ask for like $500, to complete the goal. And really all that is just people buying the digital copy for $10 each. I'm not going to do a bunch of tiers or all that. It's going to be something very simple. So we'll see. I mean, I'm not saying I'm going to definitely do Kickstarter, but I'm just saying that whole argument of Kickstarter versus Indiegogo, it comes from a different group of people that I'm not associated with. So that's why the argument isn't in my head of like, which platform should I use? Because it really doesn't matter. Bring back Christian Eddie Brock, please, Sony. We'll see. I don't know if they'll do that. I don't like the odds of Dr. Dan surviving Venom 2. I don't think he will, to be honest with you. It is highly unlikely Anne goes the way of her comic counterpart, so something will likely drive her back to Eddie. I imagine Dr. Dan will probably die, and the symbiote will bond with Anne at some point in the script and create Chi Venom again, and then go back to Eddie. So, and then maybe that'll be the thing that pulls her back, is that now she feels more connected to Eddie. It'd be great is if the symbiote in the movie actually has the powers of the symbiotes in the comics and they transfer memories. I always talk about that. The first movie, when that homeless woman jumped on Eddie and poured the symbiote into him, it would have been really cool if Eddie after that started seeing memories of her life and seeing that Eddie was actually a positive element in her life. Because Eddie at this point is feeling low. He's at the bottom of the barrel. And maybe that bit of hope is like, hey, I'm not actually a totally worthless bad person, even though I kind of screwed over my girlfriend and I ruined my life and everything. Maybe there is still good in me because this homeless woman saw me as a positive effect on her life. And now I have her memories and I want to get revenge in a way of the guy who experimented on her and experimented on these homeless people and has tortured the symbiote. Now we have a mutual hatred. That would have been great, because then in the second movie, or when it bonded with Anne could have got the memories of Eddie and saw that Eddie does regret what he's done and does feel sorry for what, or still feel sorry for himself, but there's self-pity there, self-hatred there, but it could give Anne a peek into his mind. And then when the suit bonds back with Eddie, it could have showed Eddie some of Anne's memories of that she still feels something for him now that she knows he regrets what he's done. That would have been awesome. So so I would like more growing for these characters, and I thought the movie missed an opportunity by taking away one power that the symbiotes have. So hopefully they expand on that in the second one. I would love to see that. I hope Dan doesn't die. He is so nice. I like Dan. I like the actor. He did great. I thought he was fun in the movie. Christianity is a big no-no in the mass appeal comics industry. I mean, I know that, but I mean, I don't know. I feel like there's a line you can walk when you do that, and it can be done. You could have Eddie still go to church. I don't think that's a bad thing. The old Spider-Man 3 trailer, the alternate version, brings a lot of memories, still hilarious to this day. Yeah, that's right. They did a little bit of that. In the comic book, they did that. Actually, that's how Eddie Brock finds out Peter is Spider-Man, because they made a comic book called Spider-Man 3 The Black, and we actually covered it here on the show. We did. You guys recommended it to me. I never heard of it before. Apparently, it came with like a special edition of the movie back when the movie came out, and I never knew it existed. So I found it on eBay for like $10 and bought it, and then we talked about it on the show. And it showed basically deleted scenes written by Brian Bendis and drawn by Mark Bagley of Eddie from Spider-Man 3 getting the symbiote and seeing Peter's life. And that's how he figures out Peter is Spider-Man. That would have been cool to see in the movie. I don't know why they didn't do it. Dan must die for Dylan to rise. No, sacrifice Dan. No. I was just trying to be helpful as I want to see you be successful. Oh, I said no, no, no. I'm not, crapping on your suggestion at all. But I think a lot of times people when the Indiegogo and Kickstarter thing is just a different argument when you look at it from a Comicsgate lens. And I'm not saying you are. I'm just saying like some people do. So forgive me for projecting that. But some people do. So like I'm just like, well, I have to look at what platform makes the most sense for me. But also, like I said, I admitted there's a little bit of pride there. I don't want to go out on a bad note with a Kickstarter. So I might, make my last one, successful one by having the book done before we launch it. I think that's a better way to go out. So it's more of like hey, I can do this stuff successfully and be good at it. I'm sorry that I've been bad at it in the past. I think that's kind of what I'm saying. So it is a little bit of pride and ego there maybe, but it's also me trying to, show people that I've grown and changed and for the better, So it's kind of like an evolution thing. But it doesn't mean I'm definitely going to do Kickstarter. Like I said, I will look at every option that's best for the story that will reach the most people that I can make the most money off of for sure. But at the same time, this is a novel, the Judas thing. It's a novel. It's not a comic. So I feel like I'm already not even reaching out to the core. Like you guys are kind of my demographic or core audience, right? You guys would probably rather me do a comic book, but I want to do this Judas thing as a novel. So, and more of a novella. It's not going to be long at all. It'll be like 150 pages maybe. So it'll be short. And we'll write it here on the show. So you guys will see me write each chapter. You won't see everything I do, but for each chapter, we'll do like one live stream. And that way I'll whether it's me starting the chapter, editing the chapter, or in the middle of the chapter, every chapter of the novella, I'll do one stream on here so you guys can see the process of the book being made and be a part of it and give me feedback and stuff. So I think it'll be a unique way to write a book. I feel like it'll be a good challenge for me too. Venom Let There Be Carnage should have a collector's edition. It will be, I'm sure. Okay, no problem. You weren't trying to bring up Comicsgate. Fair enough. No problem. I'm just saying, usually when people come at me with that recommendation, they're coming from that kind of background of like, hey, a lot of Comicsgate guys use Indiegogo and it's successful. And I know, I see it, people hate me because I follow a couple Comicsgate guys. I don't follow them because I agree with everything they said. I just follow them because I like to hear both sides of every argument. But like I said, now I've gotten tired of it. So a lot of the guys I followed that are Comicsgate, I may still follow them, but I muted them on Twitter and I don't watch their videos anymore on YouTube. I may still stay subscribed to them, but I don't follow them or listen to them anymore because a lot of times Comicsgate and non-Comicsgate, they argue over semantics and a lot of other things that I'm just like, I just don't want to be a part of the argument. It's like it's tiring, and it's not worth it. I feel like nothing's getting accomplished on either side, and I just don't care. Like I don't care. I love comic books for sure, probably as much as most of them do. But at the same time, I also love change. So if comic books went away and there was a new form of comics, or comics got delivered in a new form, I would adapt and go with the new form. So I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, I didn't mean to project that on you. I'm sorry. That was unfair, so I apologize. Oh, please say it isn't so, Eddie. There were a lot of little things, details they missed in Venom 1. The lack of memory sharing bugged me. Definitely bugged me too. Yeah, I had that special edition of Spider-Man 3. Yeah, I didn't have that, but I'm glad you guys told me about it. That's another reason why it was fun doing this show, is that there are things you guys tell me about, and I'm like, because someone's like, dude, you must be the biggest Venom fan. You've done 500 episodes. I'm like, no. I've met people on this channel who are bigger Venom fans than me and have told me about stuff that I never knew of. I go, so this isn't me being like saying I'm the like expert on Venom. That's not what this show's about. This is me just talking about something I love and finding other people who love it too, and sharing our differences and our ideas with each other. It's fun. It's building a community, and a pretty respectful and chill one too. I gotta say, for us, for being at 2,300 subscribers, and still being this chill is like unexpected. I would have thought a lot more, vitriol would have come in, because once your net grows wider, you start catching things in it that aren't really things you want to catch, and so negativity starts coming in, and and we've had people come in here and call me soy boy and stuff like that, and it's just like, hey, you feel about me however you want. Like I don't care. As long as you like Venom, I welcome you. That's like, you know, if you want to come in and personally attack me, that's sad that that's the internet now. That's what people feel drawn to. They want that drama. They want that, you know, all that crap. And I'm like, I'm just not that person, man. I'm here to talk about Venom and then soon Spawn, because now that I'm canceling Patreon, I'm like, all right, well then we got to bring the Spawn show to Patreon. We got to do it. Dan's death is going to be the saddest comic book death movie since Tony Stark. I don't want him to die, but you gotta kill people. I'm also worried about Mrs. Chen too. Mrs. Chen will probably be in the next movie, and I'm worried about her. The memory thing would be a help a lot in the movies. It's a great way to do exposition visually, and so that's I look at it as a tool, a storytelling tool. So it bums me out when you don't use all the tools at your disposal, especially when they exist there in the source material. So yeah, the first movie kind of messed up on that. But I also wonder if any of that was cut, because maybe some of that is in that footage. Apparently, you know, Tom Hardy said there's like at least 40 minutes of usable footage that was cut from that first movie. So I don't know. Maybe we need to ask for the Tom Hardy cut of Venom 1, because I think the ultimate edit came down to Tom Rothman, I think, is what I heard. I don't know if that's true or not, but I think he came in and chopped the movie up to get it down to like an hour and 40 minutes or whatever it is, because he wanted it to screen more, because they were worried it wasn't going to make money, or partly worried it wasn't going to make money. But it made so much money, man. It made so much money. But that could be because he decided to make it an hour and 45-minute movie and not a 2.5-hour movie. Imagine if it was 2.5 hours, it might not have made $850 million. So maybe there's something good that came out of Tom Rothman's edit. But that's what DVDs and Blu-rays are for. So it would be cool to get the Tom Hardy cut. Release the Hardy cut, because I don't want to say the Fleischer cut, because I don't know if Fleischer how that's a good question. It would be really interesting to hear whose cut it would really be, because Tom was the one who was kind of pushing more for that footage to get back in there, and Fleischer not so much. So be curious. Using a memory link would be such an easy way of circumventing plot holes. That's exactly my point. I agree with Eddie. I want to sleep with the symbiote. I want to sleep so the symbiote can take down Sinister Six for me. Oh, okay. Me, will this end? I'm curious. Yeah, the stream. Are you talking about my stream is running too long? Yeah, we'll end soon. Are you going to play a perfect circle in the background while writing Judas? So Judas, that song, is about a brain aneurysm. Do you know that? I know the dot you're and joke you're making there, but I probably will. I love a perfect circle. I'll probably listen to a lot of their music when I write it. But Judas is actually more connected to me than even the Judas thing, which is, it's about a brain aneurysm. If you listen to the lyrics of that song, if you listen to that whole album, it's amazing, because the only time, so Maynard, the singer of Tool, and also Pussifer and A Perfect Circle, which, by the way, Pussifer just recently released a new song called Apocalyptical, which is a pretty decent song. I'm a little critical of it, but it's nice to listen to and like in the background and kind of groove to it, bob your head. But I'm going to go off on a Maynard tangent now. But Maynard and that whole album of Perfect Circle with Judas on that album, the only swear word in the entire album is the F word, and the only time it's used is one time, and it's in that song Judas. The song is about his mother, who had a brain aneurysm. She was very devoted to her church, went to church all the time, had a brain aneurysm, paralyzed from it, couldn't speak, had problems functioning, and the church stopped helping her and stopped giving her a place to, because I guess she still tried to go there and try to be there, but I guess they were like, no, you need to go into like a special care unit or something like that. They rejected her apparently from going and being part of this church, and she was a part of that church for like decades. So he wrote this song about the church basically betraying his mother, who he saw as a saint, and in a way, but saw the church betrayed her. Pretty interesting song. I really like that song a lot. And when I learned more about the song, it made me cry because obviously I'm an aneurysm survivor, and I didn't have it that bad. I've met other aneurysm survivors who can't move the left half of their body, or who can't speak a certain way, and or like stuff of me changed. Like some of my mannerisms have changed. I've had to develop new mannerisms. Speech patterns had to change. Memories are obviously affected. I've had certainly have my troubles. I have a pain in my head every day. I have to wear a helmet because I get dizzy, you know, and have, you know, vertigo and you know, seizures sometimes. It's not an easy road for sure, but I certainly have it way better than a lot of other people, and I've met a lot of these other people, and it's heartbreaking. It's why I don't interact a lot. I pulled away, which is a shame on some level, and people do give me negative feedback on it, and I understand. But I was more involved with Brain Aneurysm, the foundation, you know, and trying to reach out to people. And I spoke at a couple, not Aneurysm Foundation events, but some aneurysm stuff. And, you know, and I also went and like did an art show where I spoke about aneurysms to a crowd, and I made everybody cry in the room. It was really heartbreaking, but I did those things because I knew people who couldn't do them, wanted to do them, wanted to speak, wanted to, you know, get out there. And so because I could, I used those opportunities, but that was years ago. Now I'm trying to have a normal life. I'm trying to not dwell on the things that depress me and hurt me. And unfortunately, what that means is I've broken away from a community that in part might need me. And it's tough. It's not an easy road to walk, and it's not an easy decision to make. And I do regret it a lot of days, but selfishly right now I'm trying to think of my own mental state and my own, I never thought I would live another 10 years. So it's like, you know, I got to think about me sometimes, and it sucks because I don't want to be selfish. I had this saying that I used to say on Harmontown that Dan Harmon used to really love, which was I would tell people, give more than you take. If you do that, you're ultimately a good person. If you go out there and you give more than what you take from the world, if you give more to it, then you're a good person. And I sometimes do wonder what side of the fence I'm on, no doubt, especially when people give me negative feedback. And I know some people go, oh, you got to ignore them. They're haters. They're this, they're that. I can't ignore people sometimes. Like if they make a good argument, even if it's hard to hear, if it's a hard pill to swallow, I have to listen. I don't know what it is about me, but I do, which is why a lot of people don't like me sometimes, because they're like, oh, you shouldn't be listening to that side of the fence, or you shouldn't be listening to this side of the fence. I'm like, sorry, I have to because I have a brain that's still developing. I have to learn. You know, if you want to look at it one way, I'm a 10-year-old trying to figure out my way in the world in the body of a 38-year-old. So I got to think about that sometimes. Eddie's Mullet says, I follow a few comics. Hey guys, all their videos never get notifications from YouTube. That's definitely a big thing with them for sure. People were asking me, they're like, hey, have your notifications and videos have been affected by any of the YouTube changes? I'm like, no, why would they be? I'm not a controversial guy. I mean, that's the thing. People are like, dude, you could make so much money at this YouTube thing by just having like hard stances on stuff, even if you don't believe them. And I go, okay, but then I'm not being genuine. Then I'm going to be like some hack, like Jody's Corner, you know, or a Comic Cast or whatever. Like I'm going to be like these fake losers who say they have connections and say they have people who talk to them, but they probably don't. And if they do, the people who talk to them probably don't even like them or their content. They're just doing it for free advertising or whatever. But it's like, I just don't want to be one of those people. So I vehemently fight against it. I'm like, dude, no, I don't want to be like that. I don't care if someone says something. Like the other day, Joe Biden said something, and I'm just like, well, I'm not black, so I'm not going to be angry about what he said, but I feel like he shouldn't have said what he said. But I'm not going to go on Twitter and post about it a ton. And I'm also not going to go on, here and make videos about it. Like that's not what my channel is. I just don't do that stuff. And I tried it a little bit on Patreon. I did an episode called Dumb Shit where I talked about dumb shit. And I talked about some more controversial things. But after I did one episode, I re-listened to it. And normally I don't re-listen to my stuff, but I re-listened to it and I go, this wasn't worth it. Like it wasn't worth it to talk about these topics because I don't want to once you talk about a certain topic, you bring in an audience that has passionate, vitriolic things they want to say about the opposition side of that argument. And I just don't want to draw that kind of attention to my channel. I don't care. I want to show people that there is a better way. You can focus on a niche character like Venom and just have fun conversations about him, and you don't have to scream and throw stuff at each other and hate each other, and you can be fine. Like that's my whole point, is I'm just trying to show people that there is a better way to do things and you can still progress. Yeah, I don't have 500,000 subscribers. I don't plan to ever get that many just talking about Venom or Spawn, but I plan to at least, get a couple thousand, and that would be I'm happy with that. Because I know everyone that comes here is a fan of the character that I talk about. So it made me cry too. He has many wine vintages named Judith too. Yes, he does have wine. It made Judith. Yep. because that's the name of the song, right? It's Judith, not Judas. But yeah, Judith, right? Great song. Great song. I hope there's another Venom themed brisk tea. I hope so too. I hope it's Carnage themed. I don't know what it would be because the last one was kind of red. So I don't know what they would do this time. But yeah, seriously, you're never supposed to give up on people. Screw them. I mean, yeah, it's you're not supposed to. That's true. And you talk about the church thing. Yeah, you're not supposed to, but it happens. They do so. Hope it was available. I could find it anywhere. The brisk tea. Yeah, I hope they make it more wider spread. Now that I live in Florida, I'm like, oh, am I going to find it? Because I found it everywhere in California, but I'm wondering if I'd find it here. Eddie, I freaked for a second there thinking there was a release I missed. No, you're good. You're good. Judith. Same behavior. Yeah, right. Siike, you're a sweetheart. Hey, Lonely, you're a sweetheart. Jazz Carnage is a sweetheart. I know he's not here, but tell him I said that. Okay, gotta go. Goodbye and let there be. All right, Georgie. Yeah, I'm sorry, man. We're going long. We're going for 2 hours today. We got 10 more minutes. So I just wanted to spend a lot of time with you guys today. It's nice. I haven't made videos all week, and I know you guys have been asking me, and I kept saying I was gonna, and I just relaxed all week. I played God of War, and I got lost in it, man. I love the game so much. So yeah, I didn't make any content this week. I did line up those interviews coming up, and I'm working on questions for those interviews. So I'm doing stuff behind the scenes. But Venom vlogs, I'll get back to them. I'll start tomorrow, and we'll start uploading videos all week. And then next week, we're going to do that Eddie Brock week for you guys. Bye, dude. Have a good one. Yes, thank you guys for coming in. Thank you, Georgie, for coming in. And thank you guys for the 11 thumbs up. I appreciate it. I wrote an English comp paper on Maynard. He's so freaking interesting. I was shocked to find out he was a wrestler in high school and still tries to see. Yeah, if you check out his the music video for the song called The Remedy, which is a song I love. I was singing it the other day. If you don't follow me on Instagram, so 4 years ago when I used to live in my old apartment by myself, I used to sing. When my head would get really gnarly, I would do everything I can to calm it down. And once it was calm, I would start singing. It's kind of a form of meditation for me, where I would sing. And I'm not a great singer. Lonely disagrees with me, but I'm not a great singer. I used to be in choir, and I used to be in a band, but I didn't sing in the band. I played bass guitar, but I did some backup vocals, but I didn't really sing. But I loved singing, so sometimes I sing in my living room. So I was singing Jesus Christ Superstar songs, and then I was singing A Perfect Circle and Pussifer and Tool songs, and I sang the song The Remedy in the music video. I had because I know the lyrics by heart, so I just put the music video on, and the music video was cool. I'd never seen it before. It's like him. It's like an old guy who used to be a wrestler, and he has a luchador mask and outfit hanging on his wall, and it's him building up the courage as an old man to put on the costume again. And I was like, oh, I wonder if that's like a reference to Maynard's own life and stuff. Outrage for clicks. I mean, it works for sure. It's a good business model. When people get mad at John Campea, and I'm like, well, I'm mad. I don't like John Campea for the reason people don't, but for a different version of it. So like people were like, oh, look at him. Oh, did it reconnect? Okay, good. John Campea did something like where he came out and said like, Robert Pattinson, you need to respect the role of Batman, blah, blah. And he went on this like fanboy rant. And he looked stupid doing it. He does that because it, because it's gets him clicks. He doesn't care that he embarrasses himself, that he has a hot take. He probably doesn't even believe what he's saying. And that to me makes him a fake person. So when someone is willing to do that and be like, oh, I got people mad at me and now they're going to come in and that got me 3 million views or whatever, and like all these Twitch streamers now who seem to be baiting people. I think they're baiting people. They're saying like, to their chat, they're like, hey, donate to me. Give me $5. It's only $5. They're saying that so that those clips can go out there online, and then it baits you to go hate them, and then they get a bunch of new subscribers, like that girl recently who has she thinks she's like a deer or something, and she's like a Twitch safety council member. She said some controversial things. People go and throw hate at her. They asked for Twitch to fire her, which they're never going to do. But Twitch, says, oh, she's not really a staff member or whatever. That thing got her like, a bunch more subscribers. So sometimes people just do these things and get this hate because they know one side will hate on them and that will draw the other side to befriend them. And it's manipulation to me. That's manipulation. It's dishonesty. And I'm like, no, I'm here to talk about Venom. And that's it. And if I have a hot take on something, it's on Venom, a fictional character that shouldn't upset you because I have a hot take about him because it's a fictional character. And I'm trying to show people in fandoms that it's okay to disagree, but you can still have a conversation with the person you disagree with. That's why I still to this day would love to have Donnie Cates on the show. I would love to talk to him about his run on Venom. Even if we wanted to isolate it, be like, hey, just your first 12 issues. Let's just talk about that. And then maybe a little bit of absolute carnage at the end there. But I would love to just sit and talk with him for like an hour about, his run and pick his brain. Well, hey, why did you do this in the story? And I wouldn't be disrespectful. I would totally, and I would even send him the questions I'm going to ask beforehand so that I'm not like surprising him with anything. Because my show isn't, like I said, I'm not a drama a-hole. I'm not here to go, hey, gotcha. I'm not that person. I just want to talk about Venom. So I want to hear why he does the things he does, because I know a lot of you guys do like what he does. So that would be great content to bring to you guys. So it would be nice to talk to him. It would be nice to talk to Ryan Stegman or Devin Lewis, the editor of Venom Comics. Like, I would love to, but I don't think they'll do that. I just don't think they will. I've asked Donnie once. I know he's a busy guy, but I feel like I kind of got brushed off. That's fine. If he doesn't want to talk to me, it's fine. I can't force anyone to do anything, but I would just love it for the content to bring to you guys. That's all I care about. I want to bring stuff to you guys that you might like. And who knows, maybe talking to Donnie might change my mind on some stuff. That's the other thing. I want to give him a platform with me so he can tell me about directly what he was trying to do and what he was trying to accomplish. And it might change my mind on stuff. So I don't know. That'd be great. I would love to have him. If he's out there and any of you guys know him or something, like, tell him the door is open. Anytime he wants to come talk Venom, I would love it. The one good thing about the pandemic is that it suppressed the political ads. Yeah, for sure it did. It did. But now we get that stupid soap ad all the time. Every time I click on one of my videos because sometimes I'm like, I can't get the studio to work, the app for the studio. Sometimes I can't get it to work, so I have to go to my video to heart one of your comments, and I'll go there, and that soap ad pops up. I'm like, God, I hate this soap ad. I know now that soap ad's gonna be like, well, you don't want our sponsorship? Fine. It's like, well, you don't sponsor me, dude. I'm just like a random video you put your commercial on. But send me a box and we'll talk, whatever. I still have a bottle of Briss tea in my Venom cave. I still have the bottle back there on the wall. That's my bottle right there. Ba-boom. F-U politics. That's right, Georgie. F-U politics. You're an awesome singer, Siike. Thanks. Siike is all about that bass. All about that bass. That's right. Robert Pattinson trolled the hell out of Batman fans about his workout regimen. It was hysterical. See, that's the thing is, I like him even less because if it was a troll. But people say that it was a troll. How do you know for sure it was a troll? I just want to know. I'm curious because I saw a lot of people go, dude, he's joking. If you ever seen an interview with him, you know he's joking. Here's my issue with that. I said this on my podcast, but since I don't think you're a Patreon backer, so I don't mind repeating it here. He doing that is what I hate about society. GQ magazine wants to interview you. Okay, so talk coherently and passionately about the stuff you're working on. Say, hey, I'm excited to get back. Like, okay, mention, hey, I haven't really been working out, but I'm excited to get back to this role. And he had to do his own photo shoot. Sit there and show a picture of you sitting and reading a Batman comic. Hell, even talk about how there's a pandemic going on, and even though you're trapped in your hotel room in London that Warner Brothers paid for, so you can stay in London. You're like, yeah, I'm not even at my home. It sucks, but there's a lot of people going through that right now. Try to relate to people. He comes across in that interview like the main character from Entourage. And my least favorite character on Entourage? The main character was my least favorite. He was just a guy who went around and screwed women, couldn't cook his own food, couldn't drive his own car, and wasn't even that good of an actor. Like he played someone who wasn't that good of an actor, and he got better, as he progressed throughout, the story or whatever. But Robert Pattinson is a good actor, but he comes on and he wastes everyone's time. That was a waste of pages in a printed magazine for GQ. It was a waste of an article link. It was a waste of everyone's time. It was a waste of photos, even though it's all digital. It was just a waste. He comes across as so him going, oh, I trolled, or someone trying to defend him saying he trolled people. Well, he looked skinny as shit in that photo op. So I don't know how much he was really trolling people. And secondly, if he was really him trolling people, then I like him even less, because it's like, I get it. Maybe he has this thing where he's like, screw magazines, screw this. Then don't do the damn interview, dude. Like, you're given a platform to reach fans. You could have said a lot of cool things in that article. You could be like, you know what? this role, it's been tough. I'm examining this character from a lot of different ways, and I want, but I should mention, like, I'm sitting here reading this comic book, learning more about the character. I really like this writer. You could plug a writer. Oh, Doug Mensch. I love his, Batman run. I love, Neil Adams' version of Batman with the long ears or whatever. Or I like this version. You know what? Speaking of comic books, comic book stores are hurting right now. If anyone, like, you have a platform, do something cool with it. Do something unexpected. That would have made him win major cool points for me. I read that article and I was like, F this spoiled brat douchebag. And then when people go, oh, he was trolling, I go, hate him even more if he was trolling. Because that's everyone's mentality. Oh, I doxed you for the lulz. I did this to you for the lulz. I took away your sponsorship for the lulz. Everyone does things for the lulz. Like, no one does anything sincerely anymore. And it's disgusting. It's the worst part of human nature that I've seen progress over the past like 10 years. And it disgusts me. So him acting like that makes me like him even less. And it makes me want to see his movie even less. So, yeah. So I know I don't care if he was trolling people. That makes it even worse for me. I had first row center for Conditions on my parole. That's a great album. Amazing show with Karina Round. Excellent birthday gift to myself. I saw Tool live. I worked at Sony. They played on a soundstage next to where they were filming Green Hornet. I think Green Hornet might have finished filming at that point. And then Get 'Em to the Greek was being filmed in another stage across from it. Then in the main stage, or with the one stage I'm thinking of, I can't remember what number it was. But so Tool came in and recorded like something in there, and there was like maybe the crew and like 10 other people. I was one of the 10. It was amazing. I got to see a Perfect Circle performance. It wasn't Tool. Sorry, it was Perfect Circle. And honestly, that was pre-ANEURYSM, so I can't remember all the details of what song it was or what it was for. And even watching all their music videos now, I don't know if it was for a music video. Like, I can't think of what it was. But it was there, and I wrote it down in a journal of mine that I had that experience. So that was really cool. So I'm so glad I had that, even though I don't remember the full details of that experience. But I love that band. I love Maynard. He's so awesome. Yeah, nice hanging out with you too, Lonely. Lonely, you got to go? Yeah, take care. Thanks for coming in here. I appreciate it. You be safe too. We're at the 2-hour marker, so we're going to wrap this up, guys. I don't think Donnie would ever do it, but Ryan might. Yeah, I don't think Donnie would either, and that's a shame because I don't mean the guy any ill will. I know I'm very critical of his stuff. And I know Devin Lewis probably, if he's heard of me, I don't know if he has, but if he has, I followed him on Twitter for a while. But I think I've unfollowed all of them because I felt like, oh, well, I don't think I'm ever going to get a chance to interview these guys. Like, I would love to interview Devin Lewis about just what an editor does at Marvel, like, kind of again, educating us about the industry. Because some of the stuff I talk about, I know I've worked in the comic industry. I know what I've seen some editors do, but that doesn't mean every editor does it that way. So I'd like to see what his process is and how he comes up with stories. And I don't want any spoilers or anything and peek too much behind the curtain. But I think it would be a cool thing to show. I think a lot of channels like mine who talk comics and movies, like I said, the one thing they don't do is talk about how movies are made or talk about how comics are made. And I would like to bring that kind of content to you guys, but I can't do it alone, So, yeah, I would love that. I don't know. I would love to interview Costa, Remender, or any of the other Venom writers. Maybe I'll do that after I get, so the writers I'm going to be talking to soon, maybe after I lock those in and I can show people, hey, here's how I do interviews. What do you think? Would you be interested? I could have something to bring to them, because when I interviewed Jerry Duggan in person, that was fine. But I kind of like the interview I did with Ben Pronsky better, that format where he calls in and I record it on Audacity, and then I just come up with like a blank screen to show, like, not a blank screen, but an image to show you guys for the interview. Like, I like that process. I thought it came across well, and you can listen to it while driving, so you don't have to look at it. So it's more of a podcast interview. I like that. I thought I had a lot of fun. So when I get a couple more of those done, I probably will reach out to other writers and stuff and try that. Maybe Pattinson has only watched Adam West Batman. Maybe. Pattinson has always been flippant in his interviews, right or wrong, but at least he's consistent. I do agree, though, not really a time to joke. Never a time. I don't care how he's flipping in interviews. That's a douchebag thing. Like, I get it. We talk about it sometimes. Some journalists out there and people who interview you, they're not good at their jobs, and I get that. And they ask dumb questions that you don't want to answer. I totally get that, but that's part of the job. That's the thing, is like, work ethic is everything to me. So when I see people have a lax work ethic just to win cool points, hey, look how flippant and cool I am on this interview. Like, oh yeah, Twilight, that sucked. Yeah, I hated doing those movies. It's like, but that was still your body of work. So talk about what you learned from that. there's just better ways. Like, and these guys, they just want to win cool points. Like, yeah, okay, I'm going to be playing Batman next. I better shit on Twilight some more so all those guys don't think I'm, like they don't make fun of me for being Batman or whatever. Like, he seems like someone who cares about people's opinions too much. And it's just like, dude, just be a professional. How about that? Be more of a professional. Because I know he is when he goes to set. He's clearly is. Because like I saw that Tenet trailer and I'm like, wow, he's a good actor, man. And just in those few clips I saw, I'm like, he's really good. And I saw him in Lighthouse and other stuff. He's a great actor. So why can't you be a good person on top of that? Like, it's like these guys, they can only do one or the other. Like, I'm going to be a good person, but a shitty actor. I'm going to be a good actor, but a shitty person. I like Tom Hardy because he's both. Like, he's very nice in real life. I met him a couple times now. And every time I see him, pictures of fans, even during this pandemic, he'll wear his mask. People ask even to take a photo. He lowers the mask, takes a photo with them, puts the mask back on, goes back to shopping for his groceries. Super nice guy, doesn't have to do that, does it all the time. So, yeah. And in interviews, yeah, he has some fun in interviews, but he does sink his teeth into some of the questions and answers. So I do like that about him. Oh my God, Siike, how cool is that? Glad you have that journal. I kept a journal of my whole life when I moved out here to Orlando. I took pictures of every set I worked on and wrote down in journals and then pasted those pictures into that. And I have those journals. I have one in my kitchen right now. I was flipping through it the other day because I don't remember this place. I moved back to Orlando and I'm like, I don't remember living here. And I lived here for like 4 years and I don't remember any of it. I don't remember hardly any of it. So I was flipping through these journals. When I moved to California for like my first 2 years out there, I kept a journal with every show I worked on. Thank God I did that because those are most of the years I don't remember that and into childhood. So yeah, thank goodness. I always wondered at the time, my mom and stuff said, why are you keeping these journals? I'm like, I don't know. And then boom, I have an aneurysm and lose my memories. And then I have these journals. I'm like, cosmic forces at work there for sure. For sure. I don't know why some cosmic being gives a shit enough about me to give me that gift of foresight. But yeah, it wasn't even foresight. I lucked out. Bye, Hotspot. Have a good one, dude. Thanks for coming in here. I've heard plenty of Donnie interviews. You aren't missing out on anything. I mean, that's the other thing too, is I hear him talk and yeah, I mean, here's the thing is I'd still like to talk to him. And that's the thing about me as an interviewer. Like if people don't talk enough, I'll talk for them. Like I interviewed Dan Harmon one time for my Nerd Nation podcast that I did with my friend Gene. And there were times where he was like, I think he was drinking and he was doing the interview from his car outside of a bar that he was drinking at. So he was like, oh crap, I got to do the interview. And he goes out to his car and calls me, does the interview. And then, hung up afterwards. And so, but I still kept him talking. I don't know. I feel like sometimes I bring an energy that even gets people who are more quiet, to break out of their shell. Because I want it. I want that material for my audience. So I fight for it sometimes. And plus I would edit it because I would pre-record the interview and I would edit it. So he would actually sound really good in an interview with me, which is why he should do it because it wouldn't be live. I would edit out the ums and the uhs and I would edit all that stuff out. And he would talk fluidly. So people would be like, holy crap, he's speaking so well in this interview. And I'd be like, that's my gift to you, Donnie Cates. And the power of editing, because that's what I would do. I put work into my stuff, unlike other people. So another awesome live video. Siike, stay blessed and have an awesome day. Hey, you too, man. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you guys so much. If he's doing that about Twilight and whatever, he's trolling himself. Exactly. Did you watch Brawl and Cell Block 99 yet? I have not, no, but it's on my list, Skull. I'm so sorry. It is on my list, but I have not watched it yet. And also the Drag Across Concrete one, that's on my list still too, and I have not watched that yet either. I didn't make time. This past week I played God of War all week, and I just didn't make time. I didn't even watch Uncut Gems. I rented it, and then I never watched it. I'm like, I think I still have a few days left on it, so maybe I'll watch it tonight. Donnie's the first person I've ever heard talk and run on sentences. Yeah. Well, like I said, I would edit it. So anyway, but thank you guys. That was a nice 2-hour and 10-minute video doing it live. I appreciate you all being here. Thanks for the 13 likes. Thanks for all the people who popped in. It means a lot to me, and it's great that I'm gonna get back to it. I'm sorry, I'm sorry again for taking this week off and playing video games. I know that sounds like just the worst thing and the laziest thing, but at the same time, that game was donated to me. That's a $60 game. It was when it was donated to me, and I never made time to play it. And I really owed that guy, a good solid playthrough where he got to hear my opinion. So I did that on my gaming channel, and I will be doing that more after I catch up on Venom videos. This week we're going to do like 4 or 5 Venom videos, and then next week we're going to do about 4 or 5 Venom videos, maybe even a 6th one if I do Venom Island in next week. So you're going to get a lot of Venom content coming up for the next 2 weeks on this channel, and then after that I'll start looking at getting caught up on Transformers, Ghost Rider, and Spawn. I want to focus on Venom right now. And then I want to get my 2 last Patreon episodes up too, so before I cancel that, so that those guys get what they paid for. And then I'm gonna probably play Shadow of the Tomb Raider on my gaming channel, because I love the first Tomb Raider and then Rise of the Tomb Raider, those 2 remakes. I love those games. They are so awesome. So I'm excited to play the 3rd one. It has, I never played it before, never seen anyone play it, don't know anything about the story. I just know it's the conclusion to the origin of this new version of Tomb Raider, and I want to watch it. So I'm going to go do that. Don't forget to go to Hot Topic, bunch of new Venom merch. Yes, Eddie's mullet brings up a good point. I forgot to mention that. Maybe we'll talk about that on another episode, or maybe I'll make an episode about merchandise, Eddie, because I know I was supposed to talk about that here. At Hot Topic, they do have a lot of new shirts. Eddie told me about it. There's anti-Venom shirts over at Hot Topic. They're having a lot of cool sales every weekend right now. Memorial Day, they're having some cool sales right now. Go to HotTopic.com. You can find Maximum Venom shirts, like this one that I'm wearing. We Are Venom, and it has all the heroes on it. So you can find shirts like this. You can find individual characters. I have all the most of the individual. I don't have Doctor Strange or Hulk, but I have most of the other ones. You can find those. You can find anti-Venom shirts. There's all kind of crazy cool stuff they're doing now for Venom and anti-Venom. I'm like, dude, an anti-Venom shirt? I don't know has there ever been an anti-Venom shirt before? If there has, I never knew about it. So I'm so glad that Eddie sent me that link. I'm probably going to order one of those shirts probably next week, actually. I'm just waiting to hear if we get a second stimulus check, which from what I understand, we probably are. Another $1,200, and we might even get it by the end of June, but I'm waiting I follow this guy on YouTube who has been he's a lawyer and an IRS guy, and he's very, very smart, and I love listening to his stuff talking about the economy. So funny, people are like, dude, you never talk about this stuff on your Twitter and stuff. I go, I don't, but I'm fascinated by the world and how people react to things. It's like I'm like a weird Watu, the watcher, like I get obsessed with seeing how people react to stuff. So when I saw about another stimulus check, I was like, oh, let's go see how people react to this. So I go to these articles about business and stuff, and I see the comments, and I'm reading them, and I'm like, oh, it's very interesting. It's a different world, and I like learning about it. So yeah, if that happens, I'm gonna order a bunch of shirts, because that would just be extra money, because I have enough money to pay rent for the next couple months still. So I'm not worried about that, and I'm already starting to look for a job, so I'm pretty sure I'll find one by the end of June, which will bring in more money. So yeah, if we get a second stimulus check, I'm probably gonna blow half of it on stupid stuff. But whatever I blow it on, I'm gonna bring here to the channel and show you guys. And make videos on it, because that's what I do now. Whenever I buy stuff, I only justify it by making videos on. Which, by the way, I have all those those McFarlane DC figures, and I really want to talk about them on a video. So I don't know, maybe you'll see some DC content from me at some point. I don't know, we'll see. Yeah, Hot Topic. Go to Hot Topic. Thank you, Eddie Mullet, for bringing it up. I appreciate that. And I should have known, since I love anti-Venom. You shouldn't. So there's never been an anti-Venom shirt before. Well, there's some damn cool ones over at Hot Topic, so go check it out. Oh yes, there was a silhouette of anti-Venom's face one time before, Eddie says. Oh, okay. Well, a silhouette though, that's one thing. But this has anti-Venom reaching out, like doing this, oh, it's such a cool shirt. You're gonna love it. But thank you guys so much. I appreciate you being here, and I will see you all soon. More Venom vlogs. I'll start posting them tomorrow. Since we did this 2 hours, I'm going to take my time editing. The main thing I'm doing is I got GIMP, which is a photo editing software, and I've been learning it this week too. That's what I've been doing in my spare time, because I want to make cooler thumbnails and promos for the show. I want a better banner on my channel. I want to do a trailer for the channel. I want to do a better banner on my gaming channel. So I'm learning to edit photos and work on stuff like that. I used to be able to do that before, but when I don't do it for a couple years, my brain forgets. When I don't do something for like a couple weeks, I forget sometimes. So I'm going to be I've been working on stuff like that. So you'll see when I post stuff on Instagram now, it'll be cooler looking images. It won't just be me posting like, here's what I tweeted, and then here's a screen grab of my tweet. I'll actually do cool images to share with you guys to kind of bring more production value to the show. So I've been working on that stuff too. So you'll see that in the coming future too. Bye, Siike, and thank you for everything. We are Venom. We are Venom. Thank you, Parasites. I appreciate y'all being here, and we'll see you next time. Peace.